From the darkness of the ages, the demonic king, a ruthless ruler, whose power brought suffering to humanity. His domination was overshadowed by heaven, and only the fear and ashes of hope remained on earth. But every time he climbed out of the abyss, he was opposed by a great hero, a warrior of legends, who rescued the world again and again. It was his unwavering courage that gave humanity a chance to survive. Without hesitation, the hero rushes forward and from the scope makes a cruciform blow, losing a meteorite force on the demon. The earth shudders, the explosion shines, destroying everything in the way. Suddenly broken and stunned, the king of the demons cannot sink as it was defeated. His insurmountable power seemed to disappear in an instant, broken by the hero's glitter. A new figure, a young man who boldly carries the burden of legends, appears in the vortex of victory. Lonely, but adamant, it embodies the hope of the new generation, a hero born in a time of darkness. After centuries, it was time to accept the truth. Its power has come to an end. Another hero appears before him. The name that fits into history is Leon Liberto, is a new domesticate of the fate of the world. King of demons frames, he was waiting for the army, brothers, I will be a flock of heroes, and instead there is only one, and this is enough for the heart to shake in anxiety. He remembers the path of Leon friends, conflicts, victory. Together they overcame the abyss, but now, despite all the connections, the hero appeared alone. Himself, without support, is ready to meet death or glory. The king of demons nervously squeezes his teeth. His idea of heroes is a fraternity, unity, drama, but this silent, restrained, does not fall under no familiar archetype. Once upon a time they won, sobbed after battles, created sagas that would live forever, and now Leon's silent lonely, did not say a word. Silence became his weapon. Leon, constantly challenging, is the king too interesting to the stories of the heroes? He begins to deny nervously, waving, as if caught on hot. In fact, he studied every feat, every triumph of heroes, all for the sake of defeating them. But he did not realize the main thing. Why did this Leon come to the battle himself? But Leon is unmoved. He never relied on others. His own strength is enough to overcome any darkness. Others are not required when there is a storm itself. His sword cuts the air and witchcraft heals wounds. He sees the traps, anticipates the threat, fights himself. Self-sufficiency is its only way, but this loneliness even frightens demons. Enough chat. Leon did not come to listen. He lifts the sword without words. There is no place for drama or sorry. There is only a task to destroy evil, and it will do it. Thunder was heard in Leon's voice. He declared the end of the darkness. None demon will shift the fate of the world anymore. The reign of fear is completed. Blade cuts darkness. The last blow was a point in the era of struggle. But in the meantime, far in another world, a voice from the window breaks. Someone is sharply awakened by bed. The young man shudders, emerging from sleep. The same battle dreamed again, so bright, so real. And from the street is already a cry, Ledar, get up immediately. Again and again in a dream, he sees a heroic battle, a knight against a demonic ruler. Greatness, glory, fire. Dreams persecute, leaving echoes in the soul. He knows that a real hero once lived, but nowadays are far echoes. And though it is just a dream, a naive desire flashes in the heart to touch that story for a moment. He was named Leon in honor of his mother, who died after childbirth, and the most prominent hero of antiquity, Leon Liberto. This name had to bear hope, but the world has long lost faith in the symbols of the past. As soon as he appears, Leon hears reproaches. Snail's older brother looks from above, despite the fact that the guy came at the appointed time. For him, it is already a habitual humiliation. Without any protest, without indignation, Leon calmly apologizes and goes on. He has long been accustomed to indifference and superiority, so he no longer responds to insults. He is only an extramarital son of a local aristocrat. His role is a servant in his own home, humiliated by his brother. The inheritance or recognition is not even said. His life is far from the glory of the great heroes. Leon is involved in hunting only as attraction force wears equipment. Inside, emptiness and helplessness, if at least a bit of strength from his dreams, but the reality is ruthless to the weak. Snail, stringing forward, accuses Leon of late. The guy is barely restraining, not to answer, but swallows the image again. Friends are delighted, dreaming of hunting and waiting for Snail, but it is worth mentioning the western forest, and even the wildest views suddenly dim. There is something dangerous there. All warnings are in vain. Snail does not listen to anyone. He considers himself invincible, stubbornly walking to danger, as if he does not know fear. His self-confidence has no limits. Even the whole goblin camp seems to be afraid of him. The sword in his hands, a smug smile on his face, he believes in his own invincibility. His sword makes a great impression. Friends cannot take his eyes. It's not just a weapon, it is a symbol of force that attracts views and causes admiration. The sword, as Snail says, belonged to the great hero of the past. It is a legendary relic, the inheritance of warriors who once protected the world from monsters. Leon is confused. How did this arrogant brother get such an artifact? Snail does not answer, only smiles mysteriously, swimming in his own pride. Snail proudly tells that his ancestor fought side by side with the hero himself. Together they won the monster, and as a reward, received the same sword. Since then, Snail has been convinced that he is not only goblins but also orc with such a sword. Friends are admired, and Leon is silently doubting himself, immersed in his own anxiety. Snail destroys Goblin with one blow. The triumphant pose, a smile to his ears. He has already become a legend, though he won only one. Boys are amazed. The city guard would not show such equipment. Snail takes praise, bathes, and Leon is aside, silently squeezes his fists, again staying in the shade. But only one enemy appeared. What will happen when there will be dozens? Will this self-confidence withstand a true invasion? Company already has experience in hunting, so goblins seem easy to prey. Snail glitters, the sword does not let down, but the real danger is yet to come. Leon feels alien, weak, uncertain, never held a sword in his hands. He is not taken seriously, and although such isolation pleases, because it is afraid of battles, it still squeezes something in the chest. But suddenly a flock of goblins breaks out of the forest shade. Everything around explodes with a movement and a cry. A real chaos begins. More than a dozen scared goblins fall out of the thicket. Everything is turning into a cruel meat grinder. A whole package of monster is rapidly coming, leaving a chance to retreat. Leon fades, the heart is about to break. Snail screams not to panic. He promises to handle himself. These enemies have already surrounded the detachment, squeezing a trap ring that has no way out. Despite the numerical advantage of the enemy, the group holds, but Leon suddenly notices something much more between the bushes. A threatening figure has frozen in the shadow, a goblin black giant that others do not even know. Giant grows from the shadow. The earth shudders under his steps and his eyes smoke. This is no longer a simple monster. Before Leon is a true horror that knows no pity. Breath is compressed in the chest. The mind screams about the escape. It's not a goblin, it's worse. Horror was leaning the body of Leon, paralyzing the will. It is not just big. This is a real Agra, a middle-class monster, but at times more dangerous than the rest. And none of the audience has neither chances nor strategies. Panic cuts the crowd. Seeing the plow, everyone lose the rest of the rest. They are despaired as if death is already breathing in the back. Only Snail does not seem, whether through blindness or through stupidity. He is convinced that the sword will help to win, but the views of friends are full of fear, not faith. Blinded by arrogance, Snail rushes forward, believing that it will solve everything in one blow, but fear flies around like a powder on fire. The OGRA effortlessly grabs the sword with his bare hands. The smile instantly disappears from Snail's face. For the first time, he really realizes that he is doomed. Cry, panic, confusion, all rush. Leon also wants to escape, but does not have time to set up as the worst happens. Snail grabs him and throws it just under his feet of monster. He chooses the victim, Leon. He falls, stunned and betrayed. Without the shadow, Snail states, Leon has led to die here. His sacrifice had to save others. The guy is stunned, betrayal cuts stronger than the sword. The OGR rise above him, preparing to strike a deadly blow. Leon is paralyzed, the mind crumbles, the heart fades. And suddenly, on the verge of consciousness, a voice sounds in the head, cold, sure, barely mocking. Agra, he will kill you. Leon in despair, he is worthless. Even Goblin has never won. It's just a dream, but the voice ignores doubts. You won the king of demons, did you forget? And something clicks inside. Fear disappears, the hand no longer trembles. Something has awakened in it, something ancient, strong, real. Leon opens the box and puts his hand on the sword, no doubt as if he knew all his life that would be like that. His path begins right now. Slowly, confidently, it goes forward. His peace scares more than his sword. This is not a boy, a warrior who has already seen death and did not shudder. With one powerful blow, Leon shakes the hinding hand. Blood flies, the monster has not yet realized what happened. The movement was perfect, clear, without hesitation. OGRO is roaring from unbearable pain. His cry cuts the forest, breaking the air, but too late. Leon looks at the sword in his own hands, does not believe the eyes. Is that me? Asks mentally. The voice laughs. And who else? You did it. There were no others here. OGR is trying to attack again, but Leon does not retreat. He cuts him from his neck to abdomen. The blow is accurate, lightning. The monster dies without even understanding how. Leon is still standing over a dead body. His gaze is delayed on a crushed troop. In the soul there is an echo of battle. Despite the victory, he knows these creatures are extremely hardy, but his strength passed through the bones and spine, and the voice only mocks, even with a branch I would put it. Leon looks into the palm of the hand. There is no longer a boy, there is a hero. His gaze changes, it appears in light, which has been asleep for a long time. And then memory returns. Everything rolls at once, like a wave of memories that breaks the wall of oblivion. Swords, battles, king of demons, the threat of the end of the world. Everything is in mind, bright and painful. It was not a dream. He is the same legendary hero holding the whole world on his shoulders, and now he remembers. The truth is revealed. The great hero of the past returned in a new body, with a new fate. Leon Liberto risen, and the world will receive his defender again. Leon Liberto's soul awakens in the body of a guy who was despised all around. The sword shines in his hands, and in front, an unknown way. Now he does not escape from the fate, which again called on the battlefield. His gaze slides on a simple sword weak, not noticeable. Once he would give him to his first or best, but now something deep shifts inside, awakening a long-standing feeling. Despite the new body and the past century, this place seems familiar. Then he also came here to destroy the monster. The leader was the son of the greedy old age, and the reward an inconspicuous sword, which now became a legend. The irony of the situation corrodes from the inside. The weapon he once received is almost accidentally transformed into a legend. The truth, as always, was completely different. Leon appears in front of all alive and intact. On his faces, he was surprised. No one believes that he survived. Snail in despair is rushed with questioning. Leon calmly, without any emotions, says, "The OGRO is dead. Silence has thickened, no one can grasp the herd." Snail laughs in Leon's face. He mocks, claims that the monster just ignored him. How could this slut overcome something so scary? But Leon suddenly throws the sword back confidently and without hesitation. Cold determination in his eyes instantly forces Snail to silence. He does not find a single word. With icy peace, Leon orders to silence. His voice cuts air like a blade. Everything changes, now he says, and others listen. The snail in the fury is already reaching the sword, but Leon rushes something in his direction. He instinctively catches the head of the plow, and fastened in full shock. The bloody head rolls to the boy's feet. It fills the silence with horror. Now everyone is convinced Leon really killed the plow, and he did it himself. Friends fade, covered by fear. Snail, still not believing the eyes, wants to say something, but the words are stuck in his throat. His world turned. But Leon is gone. Snail looks confusedly. The guy disappeared as if he were melting in the air. Its disappearance further enhances mystical alarm. At home, Leon meets Mucus that has fun. The guy gently calls his Sora, the only creature that brings him joy. 2 years ago, he found a wounded mucus membrane in the yard. He cured, fed, and since then he has not been away from him. Although this is the weakest creature, Sora became his closest friend. Now with returned memories, Leon is convinced that he is the reincarnation of the hero. But in memory there are gaps, too many white spots to be filled. All the books end with happy and lived for a long time and happily, but Leon understands something is wrong. Why is there no mention of his further fate, death, or new feats? He clearly remembers only one moment, the final battle with the King of Demons. This moment dreams again and again, and as soon as he realizes it, something suddenly flashes in memory. It was in the moment that the triumph of him was a terrible curse. This mention is like a sharp blade. It reveals the secret of his death and birth. The curse imposed by the King of Demons worked at the time of his death. Its essence is to tighten the hero with him, locking the force in the seal. It was the last, desperate act of dark magic, and it achieved the goal. The curse of the demonic ruler instantly got into the blood of the hero. He grabbed the antidote, but as soon as the fluid touched his lips, the body was paralysis. The muscles did not obey, and the consciousness began to fade. The hero faint without having time to interrogate the elixir. It is here that the official history breaks. Everyone believed that he died. The truth was buried in silence. Having reborn, Leon remembers that moment bitterly. The greatest hero of mankind died in silence, without glory and end. He won, but made mistakes, excessive self-confidence. Reflections do not leave Leon. Why did he fight alone? Who is the voice? What is the question now? And why was the hero destined to die in this way in a moment of triumph? Leon realized the curse was created for one purpose, its destruction. If he had allies, the chance to escape remained, but he, tight magic, had no way out. Waking up in a new body, Leon does not regret. He accepted the past and decided to move on without spending the strength on self-grinding. He begins to compare himself with the present with the former hero. How strong is its essence after degeneration? The victory over Agram proved some of the strength remained. To see this, he activates a familiar technique, evaluation. It works, ability works just as before. This confirms the fragment of the former force still lives in it. Having checked the status, Leon sees that his current race is much weaker than the previous one. The initial level, the zero potential, and at the same time a new chance. But all the titles of the titles left with him, a workshop, a supreme magician, a holy and royal thief, each is at the maximum level. The true potential remained intact. In this world, the profession determined fate. The higher the level, the greater the power, more techniques and ways to achieve. Having reached the 20th level, it was possible to obtain the blessing of God himself. It was the highest stage of force, only available to the elected. Those who crossed the border of the 20th level gained divine grace. In his past life, Leon reached the highest rank in 4 classes, everyone opened a new face of power. After the rebirth, the level of his race was expelled, but all the achievements remained. It was because of them that he once won the King of Demons himself, and now he is ready to fight again. Despite the weak level of race, its characteristics have already reached the rank of S strength, agility, magic, luck. Everything is much higher than what should be at the third level. It does not go into any comparison with the past where everything has reached the rank of SSS, but even now, it is a real miracle that exceeds the limits of ordinary opportunities. In addition, he has 300 professional points, a huge margin for a new takeoff, and this chance he will definitely take advantage of. Now Leon understands how these points work. Raising the level of race, you open new ways. Every ball is the key to a new profession, a new power. In his past life, he reached the 100th level and mastered all the main classes. Now, having only 300 points, he thinks, will he be able to surpass himself even? Considering the system of professions, Leon notes that each class has 3 levels: initial, middle, and advanced. It is becoming more difficult to rise above. Every step requires much more points. In the past, it has reached the peaks in 4 archetypes. Recalling this, the hero is convinced the foundation of the force, which is then, is still firmly rooted in its essence. Archetypes: the King of Thieves, the Sword Master, the Holy Healer, and the Great Archimag come in memory. Every path was completed, and although the body is new, the power did not disappear. Now, with only the 3rd level, Leon has 3 bed points, an unprecedented indicator. As before, the system rewards it more abundant than others. The power of the past lives in it. In addition to standard classes, there are rare ones, those that combine several branches. For example, a sword and sorcery master can reveal the path of a swordsman. The combination of a dark soldier and a priest opened the way to paladin. Anyone who mastered magic and healing became a sage, rare classes that broke all the restrictions of the system. To obtain all 4 archetypes again, he needs 10,000 points. In the past, he did not have so much, so he could not choose exceptional professions, what he still regret. New life is a new chance, but now you need to make a choice that will determine the whole future. Mistakes are unacceptable. There will be no retreat. Leon goes to church, the places where the professions are appointed. Only here you can see the class of classes. He remembers, without the ability to prayer, which belongs to the priestly path, it is impossible to start choosing. Saying goodbye to Sora, he goes on the road, decisive to find his own way. In his heart, the belief that this time he will do everything right. But as soon as he stepped on the threshold of the church, Leon stumbles on a familiar guy who tries to humiliate him. The angry one requires explanations for disappearance. Leon answers calmly, cold, confidently, how used to his past life. This is even more angry with the enemy, and suddenly the hero notices. He even says otherwise. The enemy rushes into an attack, driven by anger. His blows are rude, irreversible. Leon looks at all this with cold indifference, as if not a fighter, but a stupid shadow. There is no point in avoiding. He knows that he will not hurt. His peace is a stronger armor. The blow hit but does not harm. Passive skill works, everything like in the past. The energy is returned by a double wave. The attacker flies back, causes the ground, and loses consciousness. Leon did not move as a step. He looks at the fallen opponent, and only now he remembers the skill. It was so familiar in the past that it became part of the instinct. Then it was a normal reaction. Damage returned automatically doubled. For weak opponents, this became fatal, so this time. Leon comes closer. The opponent is alive but faint. The force that hit him was excessive. Leon did not calculate, forgetting his own power. Looking at the boy's nose, Leon notices. He is surprisingly bent. But suddenly a cry in the valley is heard. Someone runs to them with a fury, squeezing a stick. The mother appears in the church. In despair, rushes to her son, trying to bring him to her senses. Leon watches silently. The atmosphere tenses every second. After evaluating the situation, he decides to disappear. While the attention of the woman is chained to her son, Leon retreats, not wanting new conflicts. That woman breaks on to cry, accusing him of everything. Her emotions go crazy. She does not believe that the guy is just fainted. She spits images, the son of a maid, a motto in this house, a stranger who had never been part of their lives. Her voice is full of disdain. But Leon does not affect it. Her cry is only an echo of envious impotence. He calmly says that he is doing and goes, leaving her with a void in his eyes. She screams, but he does not look. Leon enters the temple, feeling the air around compresses. The tension increases. The crucial moment has come. The nun respected in the hall. It sets a magical ball on the pedestal. The ritual begins. Magic swells in the air. Space comes to life. The ball flashes, opening the tree of classes, a giant scheme from hundreds of paths. All the features of the system open in the light of magical radiance. Leon notices that most professions are available again. Some need learning, others are given from birth. The tree remained familiar as the rules of this world. Standing in front of a tree, Leon is thinking. He is attracted to the class of the sage, the embodiment of strength and balance. but thoughts also turned to the antihero, a path that challenges fate. New archetypes appeared in the branch tree of classes, fighters and hunters. They opened additional ways of development, new tactics, new combinations, new horizons. But among the many variants, Leon is unexpectedly aware that the desire for power no longer smokes it from the inside. This insight occurs quietly, but decisive. From the age of 10, his life was subordinated to one purpose: victory over the king of demons. Daily workouts, ruthless devotion, and now it feels the gravity of this price. There is no constant threat in this new world, no shackles. For the first time, he allows himself to imagine life without war, without a mission, simply life. And among all classes, his attention is unexpectedly attracted by the Ukratittle. It is unknown why, but this profession responds in the heart especially. The idea of learning to understand monsters, including Sora, seems unexpectedly attractive. Perhaps the real power is in connection, not in sword and spells. Sora has neither eyes nor mouth, but the relationship between them is deeper than words. Leon feels it and wants to grasp the incomprehensible silence of his friend. Determined without hesitation, Leon chooses a classroom. This is the first step to a real understanding, and the first choice dictated not by the obligation but by the heart. As Leon returns from the church, he is intercepted by the maid. The owner wants to talk to him about Snail's conflict. The maid speaks dry without waiting for the answer. Leon does not show emotions. It is accustomed to this. In the soul is already preparing for the next stage. The doors open. On the doorstep, a woman with a boyfriend. The voltage in the air is palpable, like a thunder before the storm. All views are directed at Leon. The sofa is brought up by the father, serious, tense, but at the same time lightweight. The look is harsh, awaiting explanations. Leon calmly says he was in the church. Words evoke a wave of silence. The family circle fades in surprise. Lloyd, father, asks for Snail's beating. That gesture points to the face and categorically blames Leon. Leon himself is silent, but his look is piercing. Without his eyes, Leon confirms. Yes, he hit. No guilt in voice, only calm statement of fact. The woman is not restrained, Leoning. Her cry is a stream of accusation. He is cruel, dangerous, and finally an insult. It is from his mother. In the attack of hysterics, she screams about exile. For her, Leon is a shame of the genus. Her voice breaks the room, demanding a final decision. The father is hesitant. He is only 12, he says, as if he was looking for an excuse. Leon understands that he will not be expelled, and it brings unexpected relief. Leon remembers his mother, a maid who fascinated the owner. They say she was dazzling. Probably this story does not allow the father to expel him now. But it does not allow itself to fall into sentimentality. Circumstances are not relevant. It is important how he responds to them, and he reacts with dignity. Leon himself decides to go. He does not need mercy, no handling. He needs freedom, and he takes it. The woman breaks down the abuse. He finally realized that no one was needed here. The father is silent, watching everyone, not knowing how to react. She insists it should be expelled immediately. At 12, she says, rural children are already working. Laughs, humiliates, repeats, he is only the son of the maid. The father proposes to arrange Leon for merchants, but the guy interrupts sharply. There is no need. His choice has already been made. Leon states that he will become an adventure seeker. Silence is a sharp like a blade. All stunned, do not believe that they just came. In his thoughts, he recalls that seekers are those who risks who changes fate. They go where others are afraid to look, and it is there, in danger, that a real power is born. This path is for those who do not have titles. They do not ask about origin, just about how many times you got up after falling. But he also understands, this is a difficult way, without salary, without guarantees, with risk and constant costs, but he still does not hesitate. In his past life, Leon also fought side by side with seekers. Although he often acted, he remembers each of them, and despite everything, it was part of this world. The father astonishment as he is going to fight. Leon replies calmly. He was already settling for a combat position at the church. All are amazed. Snail annoyingly accuses Leon of lies. In his opinion, such a boy simply could not get a position at the church. It looks too implausible. Despite its high level, Snail is bitterly complained that he has not found any work yet. Leon finally understands the reason. The brother has only ordinary, mediocre abilities. Leon calmly states that she leaves the estate. He tells everyone that he can handle himself and needs neither supervision nor advice. Says goodbye, leaving behind former life. As he returns to the new room, he is met by a familiar shape. A jelly-like creature joyfully jumps towards him. Leon squats nearby, trying to feel the emotions of the creature. With every moment, the new home becomes less alien. It begins to get used to. He cautiously touches the mucous membrane, watching how he responds to caress. For the first time, he feels a real connection is born between them. Earlier, Leon did not notice that the creature reacts to him differently than others. His look first notices this subtle but important difference. The father appears at the door. The facial expression is restrained, but in his eyes is an internal conflict. He is silent as if he does not know where to start. Lloyd silently fits and extends a bag, which is difficult to rustle in the hand. Inside money. Leon lifts his eyes, astonishing and surprised whether it is serious. He only nods. With sadness in his voice, his father admits that only it can help. Apologize for not having become the best father. Leon accepts a gift without hesitation. This support will be useful in the way, and although words are not needed, he is sincerely grateful. After the conversation, Leon begins to pack things to the magic bag, the chests of things that transfer the contents to another dimension. Although its space is not limitless, it is several times the size of the room. It is the convenience that the hero appreciates. Memories are remembered. In his past life, he possessed a sack that contained the whole village, but now this bag seems like a real miracle. The beginning of a new life brings unexpected lightness, without loading of the past, without pressure. He is ready to leave, this time out of his own will. The next morning, Leon reports Sora that goes on a journey. The small mucus shudders. The reaction is instant, moving. But as soon as the creature realizes that he goes with him, her eyes shine. Leon smiles. Now they are a team. Before leaving, Leon says goodbye to his father. Thanks, briefly but sincerely. Time to go forward. With a light soul, Leon goes on the road. Together with Sora, he steps into a new life, full of determination and anticipation of freedom. Feeling outside her back, Leon still does not stop. He is accompanied by a feeling of starting an adventure. The crowd can be seen pursuers. They pretend to be accidental passers-by, and their attention gives true intentions. A suspicious figure with a fake smile comes out of the crowd. It overlaps Leonic. Something bad is ripening. It's Snail. Surrounded by people, he publicly congratulates his brother, pretending to be sincere. But in words poison, it's a trap. Snail recognizes the true cause of the gathering. He has ended money. He wants to take away what his father gave Leon, but the hero retains calm. Leon cold replies, a futile business. He does not intend to retreat. He asks Snail to get off the road, and in his voice there is a firm determination. Snail laughs. I am sure that Leon does not understand what he goes, but this laughter is just a moon. He is openly threatening, demanding to give money. Leon does not tremble, calm, like an ice floe. He meets the enemy's gaze. The hero thinks, what if he just refuses? This position only ignites the rage of Snail. It explodes with anger. And then Snail gives the command. His heads rush forward. Battle is inevitable, but Leon stands motionless, ready to meet. One of the heads is rapidly rushing to Leon and immediately flies back, activated, double reflected. The attack returns with twice as much force. Seeing inserts Snail in panic. He desperately orders to attack the full front. Leon stands motionless, calm, as if the storm is out of its very essence. The ability is again activated. All attacks return with the same destructive power. Leon's confidence remains adamant. Several attackers fall without consciousness. Leon mentally notes, abilities are not always triggered, but his skill significantly increases the chance. This time, everything is perfect. The Snail fighters will die. One view of Leon and they scatter like a map. There was no movement on his part, just a confident silence. The despair covered by Snail screams attack from distance. One throws a stone. Leon looks calmly, not responding, as if it were just the wind. Double reflected works again. The stone flies back and with a deaf sound involves the abuser in the face. Leon explains coldly, even the distance will not save. Panic, people are trembling, not a guy, but strength. Snail, having lost control, explodes rage. Calling everyone pathetic, he grabs a knife. The face is smiling, confident. This time he decides to act himself. He calls Leon to a duel, demanding to prove his skill, but for Leon it is only a noise. Leon raises a regular stick from the ground. He says that is enough. His piece scares more than weapons. Snail Shoes does not understand why Leon chooses a branch. He only gently points out, it is strange how such a simple thing was able to overcome it. The snail explodes, the face pulls from the anger. His pride breaks, he no longer controls himself. In the gust of the spring, it rushes forward. Leon looks calm with a slight surprise. Has he not learned anything yet? Snail attacks with a knife, but Leon skillfully evades and instantly breaks the blade with a stick. One movement and there are no weapons. The frightened snail does not have time to understand what happened, as it is already thrown back. Eyes are full of fear. Lying, he hears the mockery of Leon. Next time think of your head. The words are gentle but preschool. Leon smiles, the battle is complete. Snail, broken and humiliated, shouts, it's impossible, what technique? Leon shrugs, a stick with a stick. Snail does not believe it is impossible, but Leon is calm as if nothing extraordinary happened. To confirm, Leon shows motion a stick again. Light, free like a game, not a fight. But it is worth the stick to touch the ground, the earth splits. A powerful stroke creates cracks that run into all sides. Snail is fated. Leon lifts a stick and the sky cuts a bright flash. The energy explosion flies around, wrapping everything with a glow. All shocked on the faces horror, surprise, reverence. They just saw not a boy, but a real miracle. Leon confesses that a stick is the most common. The reaction is confusion. Then why is she so powerful? He explains, a world tree branch filled with orichalcum. Even the sword of the hero is nothing near her. Everyone is breathing. Smiling, Leon throws a stick up and says, "You can pick up." She pulls somewhere in 100 gold. Provokes. Chaos begins. Everyone wants a trophy. Quarrels, screams, kicking. Leon watches, with a bored expression and even a high tongue. Finally, Snail grabs a stick, shouting that she is. It boasts, raises it high, demonstrates everyone. Leon is watching from a distance. He thinks, if he will continue to wave, trouble will not be avoided. And at the same moment, a crash. The stick breaks in half. Everyone is dying. The shock was swollen by the crowd, as if it were the greatest loss in their lives. Snail looks in the wreckage of a stick, not understanding how something so mighty could break so suddenly. The attendees begin to doubt whether the wand was a real relic. Meanwhile, Leon has already disappeared using chaos, went on a new journey. On the way to the city of Guild, a faithful jelly-like partner floats next to him. A carefree journey of a hero who has transformed into an adventure seeker just begins. In the cart, one of the companions noticed Leon's watchful look and asks if he is looking for the glory of the adventure. Stroking his jelly, Leon smiles and confirms. The intrigued, satellites are asked to tell themselves. They already wake up curiosity. A young man is called Ryan, an experienced D-wound fighter. His charming partner Nea also has a D-level. Leon is genuinely surprised. He first hears the system of ranks and does not understand what it is about. Nea explains that ranks from F to S determine the level of the traveler, depending on the number of missions. F and E newcomers, D are stable adventurers, and C are already respected experts. Leon is interested in the ranks of SS and SSS, suspecting that in 100 years everything could change. Nea jokes about his age. They say, it will not be easy to start now. But suddenly ahead is a bloody clash. Travelers are immediately alert. Two adventurers were ambushed. The situation is critical. There is no time for reflection. Nea panic. Ryan evaluates the situation. Too many enemies, but everything will be decided by the power of those who are already beating. One of the robbers notices a cart and smiles ominously. The bandits boast that they are a crazy hut, the worst flock of the region. Ryan and Nea are pale immediately. These legends have heard. Ryan says that the guild repeatedly sent strong soldiers, but all missions ended in defeat. Leon is interested in clarifying. He is confirmed. These bandits are truly legendary. Robbers demand money and women. Ryan and Nea are fading in tension, not knowing how to act. And Leon, he's quietly preparing to act. Behind Leon there is a giant magical circle. The air shudders, the sandstorm rises, the force breaks into the world. The bandits lift up and scatter the field. Even experienced seekers have to hide from the blow of the element. Confused allies ask what it was. Leon is easily replied, sandstorm. Friends acknowledge that it was a combination of wind and earth. Leon justifies he only wanted to catch criminals. However, others are indignant. It is not in humanity, but in power. Looking at scattered enemies, Leon sighs. There is little place in the cart. Maybe you have to pull them on yourself. All are amazed. How does he impose such powerful spells? Without a word, it goes beyond ordinary witchcraft. Leon throws the bandits into the corner of the cart. She slowly announces the completion and goes on as if nothing happened. A girl with prickly hair rushes after him. Stunned seekers do not have time to realize what is happening. Meanwhile, Leon is already reaching the gate of the city, calm, as if the journey has just begun. It transmits a group of tied robbers. The one is amazed. How did the young man be defeated on his own? Passing the streets, Leon notes, almost nothing has changed, and the guard still thinks where the hero with prisoners disappeared. Leon goes to the guild. The first thing that catches the eye is a majestic statue, and the face on it seems very familiar. Looking closely, he understands that the statue portrays it. Shock and surprise are rolling at the same time. The receptor explains, this is Leon Liebert, a hero who saved the world 100 years ago, defeating the king of demons. Leon asks, why is the statue of this hero standing in the guild? The administrator explains with enthusiasm, Leon's statues are around the world because he is considered a hero of mankind. And although he was glorified for power, the legends also did not miss his impressive beauty. The gammon in the guild subsides when Leon solemnly states that he wants to become an adventurer. A smiling administrator who introduced himself as Shilv with interest asks how old he is. After learning that he was only 12, Shilv notes in surprise that it is too early for this choice, but Leon is confident. He is already a tamper and shows his partner Sora. Looking at the slippery satellite, the administrator doubts. the profession of the tamper is not quite suitable for the one who seeks combat glory. She explains that mucus is a too weak creature, and the class of the tamper is rarely opened completely. It will take years of hard work to become an architerate. Shilv adds it is extremely difficult to stand out among the tamers from the beginning. However, to try it, you should take the test. She leads Leon to the rack, gives a form and asks to be honest, no inventions, even if there are any shadows in the past, but at that age it is unlikely. One of the employees reports that the exam will take place tomorrow morning. Leon wonders what kind of test he was prepared. He is answered, since he is a tamper, there will be a duel with an examiner. They will check whether he is able to control his beast in battle. The next day, the space around the arena is filled with tension. A terrible Zoraji examination appears. His voice is harsh. He does not miss the weak. He does not want to hide the dead. The star begins to test, rigidly destroying each candidate. Some of them are blowing. Others do not even have time to react. He sharply criticizes the contenders. Wild beasts will be devoured with such preparation. The audience is shocked, and Leon already imagines what test is waiting for him. Finally, the Dawn turns to Leon, calling him to the arena to assess the abilities. His surprise is obvious. Only a child stands in front of him, and even with the class of monsters. With ridicule, the star says that even the yard dog would overcome this slurry, but the Sora is offended by the fight. Little Mucus is full of determination. Leon thinks that the examiner will not harm the Mucus, but the participants are mocking from him. They say, with such a partner, he will not pass the exam. The star is already annoyed. It is difficult for him to perceive Mucus as an enemy, but it is work. Meanwhile, Sora bends in a fighting pose, ready for a serious battle. Suddenly, Sora is rapidly attacking. A powerful stroke makes the star back. The Mucus reaction is stunning even itself. The star is rushed, but Sora is skillfully evading. The examiner screams in rage. He does not understand how this Mucus has become a true threat. No attack reaches the target. Sora suddenly beats the chest, forcing the star to retreat again. The audience is already beginning to guess control of the battle has completely switched to Mucus. Leon watches silently, without believing his eyes. It goes beyond ordinary understanding. He takes interest. He revises the status of Sora and fades, impressed with what he saw. The level of strength B, endurance A, and the rest of the characteristics also on B. This is extremely for the creature of this class. Leon thinks, are all Mucus so strong, or his partner is an exception? Meanwhile, Sora continues to prevail, evading every attack. The exhausted Dawn falls, recognizing the defeat. Leon recalls that the partners get the power from the owner's mana, and Sora, meanwhile, celebrates victory. The audience is stunned. How did the Mucus overcome such an experienced fighter? Confusion in confusion. It cannot understand what happened. Leon suits the exam. The star, lying on the ground, confesses. He passed the test for excellent. Stroke, the star adds, although he does not understand how the Mucus has overcome it, it cannot help but recognize the result. However, he advises to look for allies. A lone beast does not always save. Hearing about the successful surrender, the slate is genuinely surprised. After all, the star is known as one of the most demanding examiners of the guild. And even more surprise covers her when she reads a comment. The candidate has won the examiner. Leon modestly celebrates the work of Sora, and then suddenly says that he has one question to the Sylph. Leon wondered if there was still a SSS rank. The receptionist only sighed, formally so, but it is almost impossible to reach this level. After all, to get SSS, you need to overcome the creature like a hippum. No adventurer has decided on that, or not survived to tell. Leon is surprised, but does not consider it something extraordinary, and she is interested in what is needed for SS rank. The administrator explains, now the highest rank S. In order to get it, we need to defeat the threat of the level of catastrophe, for example, the red dragon, and such seekers are extremely few. Leon asks why everything is so negligible now. He's explained that during the Demon King of the threat were larger, and the characters of the rank SS or SS were more often. After the death of the Demon King, his mana disappeared, the beasts weakened, and with them opportunities for heroes. The world calmed down but lost challenges. Humanity has lost its growth rate, and it has become more difficult to gain experience. But Leon calmly accepts a new reality, without fear or frustration. The guy receives a guild card with an E rank and a satellite token. Thanks to him, the Sora will be able to move freely without suspicion. The girl emphasizes, lost the card will have to pay, and about the token, jokes, maybe it is worth pushing it into the Mucus. Sora, without hesitation, says he wants to wear it just on his head. Leon carefully installs a token, and the slate admires this scene. Subsequently, the guy approaches the task board, and there are already interested views of other adventurers. Delivered in the list of quests, Leon suddenly hears the steps, a girl whose presence immediately attracts attention to him. It is approached by two smiling adventurers. They immediately offer to go on a new trip. Leon looks with interest but is in no hurry to answer. His face changes instantly. He recognizes both. These are the same girls whom recently rescued from bandits. With long hair Sarah and her girlfriend from childhood, Yuri, they joyfully welcome as if they met an old friend. Girls say they have been tested and offer to create a team to act together and start common adventures. Leon is thinking, though Sora and strong, but to go alone is risky. The team can be useful. After short thought, he agrees to join them, feeling trust in both girls. Yuri confesses that creating a women's team was a little scary. After all, they are the only girls in the guild, and it attracts unwanted attention. She adds, often in good words, other people's intentions are hidden, so they were first alert. Subsequently, Yuri chooses one of the tasks and asks Leon. It offers the task of rank F to destroy the kobolds that crawl out of the forest. For start perfect, she believes. Leon and Sarah immediately support the idea, so the team decides to start with this task, as with the first step into a new life. After reaching the edges, they do not find any trace of kobold, suspiciously quiet as if something is wrong. Leon recalls that the administrator warned they are forbidden to take the task in the forest. It is a too dangerous area that should be missed. While the dispute is going on, whether to go to the forest, Leon is calm, but Yuri notices something big is moving in the shadow. The loud thud is heard from the thicket. Suddenly, a whole horde of kobolds breaks out on them, attacking at a frantic speed. Girls in panic, Leon calmly evaluates the situation and counts that for so many trophies everyone will reach the coin. Yuri is screaming time is not for money, but for escape. One of the kobolds is rapidly rushing to Sarah, and the girl only has time to understand. It is impossible to escape. Yuri is set to fight. Leon watches, thinking if it is not nerves because of the first mission. Meanwhile, it rushes to the enemy, and the Sora is prepared for battle. Yuri and the sword go to attack Sora near her. Sarah also joins, and together they begin to push out enemies. Leon is behind under the protection of mucus. Standing aside, Leon monitors the fight closely. His gaze is calm, as if he had already predicted what he would end. The battle opens. The co-console is rapidly pulled forward, imposing a crazy offensive. A blow to the blow, the initiative goes to the newly minted team. Yuri cuts off the enemy, Mucus throws a kobold sideways, and Sarah exclaims a spell. The flame explosion covers the battlefield, rejecting a whole wave of monster. Despite the team coordination, there are too many enemies. Kobolds begin to surround the heroes, forcing everyone to act on their own. Without hesitation, Sora rushes into the thickening of the battle. He takes the initiative, trying to keep the position until the rest is hesitant. The unexpected attack paralyzes Yuri, and Leon, like nothing happened, steps quietly. His inviolability strikes Sarah. She does not look at him. While the girls shout in panic, Leon remains calm. Only in passing he notes that he has forgotten the sword, and the half-jokingly reproaches himself for negligence. But he is not helpless without weapons. The kobold's kobold sharply grabs and demonstrates the power worthy of a true veteran of fighting. In one jerk he raises the enemy and kills the ground with a score. A moment, and only an echo of the impact remains around. The earth splits under the power of its attack. Even without weapons, Leon demonstrates a power that causes a sincere shock. The girls are stunned. They do not believe that a person can do so bare hands. Even when he is in the ring of enemies, Leon retains calm. One kobold grabs him by the hand, but on the young man's face, neither pain nor fear. Surrounded on all sides, the guy continues to stand like a rock, with cold confidence in his eyes. The lost girls are trying to justify the situation. They say, it was only a joking game with bites, but everything looks not funny. Leon, without emotions, reports that it is time to act, no doubt about his voice. Rapid movement and several enemies fall on the ground. His attacks are accurate, like a lightning. The girls are watching from afar, unable to tear their eyes. His peace and power is a real miracle on the battlefield. Both solidify from shock. One of them even pinches himself to make sure it is not a dream. Meanwhile, Leon begins to light up. Kobolds approach him, like trained dogs. On his shoulder, a bunch of defeated enemies. Smiling, he jokes that today he is prey for glory and asks whether the girls want to join too. Leon smiles good-naturedly. Though he did everything himself, he will share the reward according to the agreement. His words sound easily and undoubtedly sincerely. However, something moves between the trees. Leon is alert and notices this is a kobold, but not ordinary. The figure emerges from the shadow, giant, formidable. Its roar breaks the air, forcing even the most experienced. Girls in horror raise their eyes. In front of them, a creature that frightens itself only in their presence. In front of them, Lord Forest, a giant kobold with human intelligence. His eyes are burning with anger, and his voice rattles, who dreamed of killing his brothers. This is the king of kobold, the creature of a catastrophe level, with which even experienced rank seekers and barely cope. One movement is enough to erase the village from the map. In despair, the girls fall on their knees. There is only one thing in the head. The first task will be the last. Tears moisturize their faces. Saying goodbye to life, they mentally apologize to their parents. Someone has a dream to become a heroine that has never come true. Leon looks at the monster and, by the way, says, "It is just a little larger kobold." Girls in hysterics shout, "It's a king." The king roars and lifts his paw. The earth under his feet cracks, ready to split. The rage burns in his heart, and revenge is inevitable. The girls try to convince they are not guilty, but the monster does not hear. The beast rushes forward, making a deadly blow. When the king kobold's fist rushes to the girls, a guy with golden hair suddenly appears and stops the blow. He quietly asks if everything is fine with them. In the shock, the numbered girls looked at the young man, unable to believe she saw. With an unmoved face, he says that everything is under control, but the girls are panicked. It is a king of kobolds, not an ordinary monster. The beast itself recedes, struck and confused, does not understand how this young man is not afraid of his strength. With a frantic power, the guy beats his palm, discarding the enemy into the distance. The blow leaves a deep bump in the ground. The girls laugh nervously. It seems to be a dream, and Kobold, trembling, tries to escape but falls unconscious. The young man shrugs his shoulders, a little hurts. He says he won enemies. The girls agree, though they understand these bodies cannot be attributed to them. Smiling, the guy asks not to worry and shows something behind his back. Several kobolds come out of the shadows, and it shocks girls. They are still alive and shake. One of the kobolds is supplied. One of the girls rushes to the girlfriend in the arms. She does not want to understand what is happening, and the young man leisurely removes the cloak without expressing no anxiety. He only touches creatures, and they disappear in smoke clubs, dissolving without a trace. The guy calmly states that the award will be divided equally. One of the girls exclaims with surprise, his immobility is simply unrealistic. In the guild, the employee meets them with a smile, asking how the first adventure passed. The employee immediately notices something went wrong. The young man, without worrying, replies, "Everything is wonderful." The girls are barely standing, the eyes are empty, the body is exhausted. One of them barely utters, he does not know what happened. The guy only adds, "They overcome a lot of kobolds." At the request of the evidence, the guy begins to get from the bag of enemies, throws them right on the floor. Guild workers in panic. Creatures appear one by one. The pile on the counter grows. The employee begs to stop. To the question of the quantity, it is calm, approximately 50. Everyone around fades, shocked. The indignant worker reproaches, "They did not have to go into the woods. They were warned." Among the bodies, she notices the old kobold. The guy sincerely says that they did not go into the woods, but the employee does not believe. Kobolds never go out. The girls behind him are silent shadows, exhausted to the edge. In the end, the employee is tiredly waving his hand. It's time to disassemble in the back. He leads everyone there. On the way, she asks where he got so many bodies. The guy replies from his box of objects. She is surprised to ask, is she really such a rare thing? From that box appears a mountain of bodies that rise to the ceiling. The employee is dying. Her brain refuses to believe her eyes. She is enthusiastically asking how all this fit. The guy replies simply, "The box is small because the bag was cheap. The best was not enough." Amazed, she explains, "Such artifacts create only the most powerful magicians, and they almost do not happen on the market. Even the simplest boxes cost as a whole cart, and the best are incredibly expensive." She tries to convince herself that she may not have understood so much, otherwise it is just a beacon. And suddenly among the bodies she sees the king of Kobold. Her heart is cold, is a legendary creature, and only a few could cope with it, is this guy. Behind the girl is in a hurry, confirming he is, and the worker involuntarily translates the strange mucus. She feels every cell. This creature is something absolutely unusual. The tranquility on the face of the employee testifies. She is not at all surprised that Leon has coped with monsters on his own, and the girls are experiencing the horror once again. Stunned by the scale of the prey, she asks Leon to return tomorrow. It is time to evaluate everything. He acknowledges with a smile that he may have taken away a little, and is interested in the cost of such a breakdown. The next day, the employee hands him a bag of gold, a reward for all the materials brought. It turns out that among the vanquished 56 kobolds, including the king and 4 elders, the body is in perfect condition. Leon is surprised by the sum, but the woman confirms is the result of a level that is inaccessible to even experienced seekers. Leon is assigned a rank D by setting a new guild record. Sarah and Yuri are also raised to the rank of. But in the hearts of girls, bitterness remains. They are convinced that they did not help. Despite this, they receive sincere greetings. Leon extends every bag with a piece of gold. At the beginning, they agreed to share the award equally. The girls refuse shy, but seeing its stubbornness, agree. With a light smile, they decide to put money for storage in the guild. Having received gold, Leon decides time to update the equipment. Despite what can fight the Gallist, he knows that the next enemy may be stronger. Together with the mucus, it heads down the city. The lively streets pass, inspects markets and shops, everything around boils. Surprised how the city has changed for centuries. People, noise, diversity, everything around new and exciting. Trying gloves, strong, comfortable, sitting perfectly on the hand, the choice is successful. Thanks to the seller, he moves on. A slime walks nearby, looking joyfully. Having purchased clothes, Leon imposes protective spells on him. The magical shield, the resistance of the elements, the function of self-cleaning, and even self-healing are a complete set. Having collected the equipment, he goes to the weapon. The seller is surprised to watch Leon's clothes glowing with magic. In a weapon store, he finds nothing worthy, everything or simple or dubious quality. Leon sighs it is better to beat his bare hands than to take such a dangerous weapon. Despite disappointment, he is trading with the blacksmith. Slime encourages, a good blacksmith always feels that a real hero needs. In the center of the smithy appears a female swab. She declares creates only those swords that inspire. But the client breaks down, goes to aggression, trying to force her to work. As soon as he rushes forward, the blacksmith instantly turns the blow and puts the fist in the floor. Raising the sword, she looks calmly and coldly. In her eyes, a warning has frozen. Disregard here does not pass. The attacker escapes, apologizes and disappears, and the craftsman looks at Leon with contempt. Her look slides on the sword created by her own. No detail is ignored. The blade is dazzling, the quality is out of competition among everything in the smithy. The weapon is undoubtedly created by the hand of a real master. Leon, fascinated by what he saw, politely turns to the blacksmith, and Slime, silently moving nearby, fixes everything that the hero sees. Casting her gaze, Leon immediately asks for him to give up his sword. The craftsman asks in confusion. She is striking both his straightness and confidence. Meanwhile, Slime is interesting to watch through Leon's eyes. In the view of the blacksmith, unexpected seriousness appears. The young man, almost a child, says confidently, directly and without any fear. His determination knocks down from the panther. Zeta sharply requires him to go, defiantly turns away, as if he does not want to listen to any explanation. Leon looks silently, and the slim on her head is closely fixing his every movement. Although she ordered to leave, the guy calmly goes into the workshop and begins to inspect the room as if it were his personal space. She screams annoyed that she will not forge a baby's sword. Leon, as if not heard, said that he listened carefully to her every word. Before leaving, Leon suddenly asks, and for whom would she agree to aroke the sword then? The question changes the entire course of the conversation. Zeta realizes that she is not an ordinary young man. He did not shudder even when she was ready at the extreme. Interested, it seems, to a blacksmith. Leon, in response, is a level adventurer D. It is surprised how such a young rank has already gained. Finally, Zeta decides to give an honest answer to his question. She states that her swords are only worthy. This rule is inviolable. Leon does not argue. She only asks whether she once forged from the material of the best than mithril. She was caught by surprise when he heard the name Adam and Titus, the legendary metal. She does not hide the surprise. Leon calmly explains, in his previous life he had several Adam and Titus swords. If necessary, find it again. Zeta explains that these metals are rarity. They are almost impossible to get. Leon only shrugs, will be found in deeper levels of the dungeon. She asks, irritated, whether he was crazy, but the guy remains unmoved. Zeta sighs. To convince him is a futile business. In the end, with a slight smile, he agrees to join his mission. She wants to make sure he is worthy of her sword. They go to the dangerous Dungeon Gadak, located in the north. This place is a true maze of death. The deeper, the more scary monsters. The farthest where people went, the 20th floor. Even on the 20th floor, the chance to find valuable material is scanty. Leon calmly states, we'll have to go to the 30th. This is just the beginning. Zeta is affected by such a cold-blooded approach. One of the satellites says it is unrealistic to reach the 30th. Leon smiles. Enough in 10th, sometimes there is a mithril. Watching his wrench, he notices she is not just a blacksmith. From childhood, she was training to own a sword, true combat workshop. She reached the 12th floor alone, a feat that only the best. The city respects it. Its gestures, language, even appearance have a courageous tint, and it attracts many girls. With the advent of creatures of Zeta, covers panic. The arena comes from a black movet, a monster capable of erasing the whole city from the face of the earth. Before him is a troll, and behind him, a two-headed worm. The scream of fear breaks out of her breast. Leon is quietly watching, not understanding why she was so scared. The arms of the wedding tremble, the tension increases. She understands that the forces are uneven. As they were so deep, it is unclear. Meanwhile, Leon is easily dealt with the monsters. It lies one by one without emotions. Looking at her, it reminds that it is only a light path. And he adds, the deeper, the more likely it is to find adamantitis. Zeta fades, hearing about even deeper immersion. There is only one thought in her head: to escape from here, and Leon is already walking forward. Zeta admits that he does not need her job at all. Even a simple shop saber will handle the dragon in his hands. But the guy shows the sword in a miserable state. The blade is tethered and completely blurred. He says ordinary weapons wear out too quickly. It even shocks Zeta. The blade breaks in half, and she asks what he is about to beat. Leon only shrugs. He does not need a spare sword. One blow is enough to demolish the monster. Zeta shouted, stunned. He won without a sword. Incredible. They are confidently moving forward through the dungeons. Leon notes that many have already passed. The look is calm, measured. Zeta is barely on his feet, exhausted. The guy asks if everything is fine. She nods, though she has an exhausted look. He smiles. It's time to dine. Leon suddenly decides to arrange a halt and a snack directly on a cold stone floor deep in the dungeon. Zeta responds with surprise, and even more shocked when he sees the guy gets a full lunch. She suspects a magical chest or hidden hiding place. He ignites a bonfire of branched branches, behaving as if he was cooking at home, not in the depths of the maze. Immediately put 2 pots on the stove. A paste is cooked in one, in the other vegetables with meat. Everything is neat, confident. Having tasted, he smiles happy. The girl, astonished, asks if he is also a cook. It looks like cooking for him is a common thing. With a casual grace, he extends her portion. The girl silently takes her, not knowing how to react. When he is indifferent, she notes that in such a place to eat is not a very worthy business. Leon smiles and asks with irony, really? Tastes slowly without losing rest. The dish looks like a delicacy. He says the taste is unsurpassed. Zeta only silently watches. It stands still, puzzled and hungry. Leon, noticing this, wonders what happened. After a pause, she begs a little food. Shameless, but curiosity and famine win. Having tried a piece, he fades. The eyes expand. The taste is stunning. She acknowledges that she did not expect such a luxury in the dungeon. On the 33rd floor, they run into the area full of monsters. Zeta suggests that you are in danger, but Leon is unwavering is the shortest way, and he planned to go here from the very beginning. There is a whole horde of monsters. Leon smiles. To fight a naked, a little boldly for him. Zeta, in panic, believes that he has gone crazy. Even when he is barely restrained, he remains calm and raps. You have sweat on your forehead. Her anger only grows. Monsters rush forward. The girl is confused, but Exiled firmly states she can handle. Leon adds that it is used by magic, because they are not a small clash, but a true pressure. Zeta shocked. Does he have magic? It changes everything. Leon calls for hellish flames. The flame whirlwind erupts around him. The girl does not believe her eyes. A powerful spell only leaves a fire. The dungeon is absorbed by fire. Leon proclaims the flood of myths. The water covers everything, finally curling the flame. The fire disappears in the depth of the stream. They look at the flooded space. Water flows down the walls of the cave, leaving behind only the moon of storms. Leon looks at Zeta. Why is she frozen? Smiles and calls to move on. It is still amazed. The words are not. From the depth of the tunnel comes a strange hum, as if something great and awful awaken. In the heart of the dungeon, from under the stone, a giant dragon emerges. His scales shine, and his voice, as if thunder, asks, who dreamed of breaking his eternal peace? The dragon is getting worse, deeper, feeling a stranger in the air. It penetrates even through the scales, awakening alarming memories. Didn't he come again? A figure appears around, emitting such a power that even the earth trembles. Her aura is depressing and powerful. In the eyes of the dragon burns rage. He remembers the humiliation he has experienced. The insult has been flesh and will never disappear. Watching a young man with golden hair, the dragon captures every movement. The guy smiles without realizing what the threat hangs. After reaching the 40th floor, the team stops. The guy puts his hand to the wall and feels something strange. Without hesitation, he sharply strikes the suspicious area. The girl shudders from a sudden and incomprehensible act. In a tiny hiding, he easily finds Adam, which is surprising even Zeta. His instincts are striking. The proposal to stay and explore this level is stunning the girl. She had already dreamed of a way out, but he just caught fire. Leon appears with full handfuls of adamantitis, smiles, enough to expel 100 swords. Zeta only nods, tired. When he says it is time to move on, she is so exhausted that he barely pronounces the request, at least for a moment to rest. Sitting in silence, Leon analyzes its indicators and rejoices. The level has grown rapidly. This is a new stage. His abilities reach SS rank, and several professions have already reached the 20th level. The force awakens again. Sora evolved. Its level is already 64, and the characteristics are striking. Even experienced warriors would be surprised. Leon jokes if Sora will try on, even the king of demons will be able to overcome. Mucus takes a heroic posture, even it is already able. Leon explains they are in the safe zone of the 40th floor. Monsters do not come here, almost never. At lunch, he notes that Sora looks especially calm here. Apparently, animals are afraid of this territory or are born directly in the maze. Leon asks if Zeta rested, but it replies, yes, and it is raised. A powerful roar cuts silence. Zeta escapes, covered with horror. Leon retains cold-bloodedness. He understands all monsters move just on them. Hearing that 500 monsters are approaching, Zeta trembles with anxiety. Panic grows. Leon retains calm and says, even here in a safe area, there are sometimes anomalous creatures. Her hope for protection is cold, perhaps. Seeing monsters' invasion, Zeta falls into hysterics. He begins to laugh out loud, losing control of himself. In the impulse of madness states that 500 monsters are a trifle. Even 10,000 she would win. Leon realizes she broke. He instructs Sora to protect the Zeta, which in the meantime calmly sways, not realizing the danger of coming. The magician prepares a powerful spell to reduce the number of monsters that have almost reached their shelter. Panic explodes in the Badak Guild. Bors is raging, hitting the table. The news of the subjugation of the dungeon is suddenly caught. The dungeon is the main source of profit. They brought glory, money, power, and now all this is under threat. The guild suffered enormous losses. Bors is angry. Who did it? Local heroes among candidates are none. If the culprit is an independent seeker, it will be a shame. Guild has tried years to conquer these depths. The doors dissolve sharply. The office comes to the office and reports immediately. The investigation is completed. There is almost no information. No one knows who conquered the dungeon. Only rumors will spread among adventure seekers, and they can become the key. Guildmaster Bors demands to hear every little thing. The subordinate is discouraged. All the rumors lead to the guy. Bors in a stund asks, the guy. According to rumors, so the guy is only 12, and recently he just joined the adventure world. Bors does not believe in Herd. How could the child overcome the dungeon? The other senior guard shrugs. All this sounds unrealistic, so it remains only at the level of rumors. But when it is mentioned that in the exam he defeated the adventurer of the rank C, and at the first task destroyed the king of Cobalt, even the Bors cannot ignore the seriousness of the situation. During the survey of the dungeon, the merchants mentioned a guy similar to the described who recently bought a sword. Boron first thinks it is a joke, but when he hears about the sword, he hits the table and orders without delay to find and bring the guy. Meanwhile, the same guy walks through the path, his hands behind his head, and a cheerful round creature is ladding nearby. He does not think that the fuss had risen somewhere behind. He thinks of the city, which city to visit. The young man goes to the city of Melissa. On the way, it easily straightens with small monsters, as if playing. Suddenly his look stops on a strange cave. Something in it causes anxious feeling. Curiosity wins. Instead of fear, he feels something weak and fragile in the cave. His companion watches carefully until the guy decides to go inside. Sitting at the side, the guy slipped through a narrow passage. Before that, he asks to remain alert, but excitedly jumps on the spot, drawing his gaze. In the dark, he encounters the mucous membrane. It turns out to be safe and even starts a conversation. Intrigued, the guy asks if there is someone else here. His voice is softly but decisive. A silhouette appears in the darkness. Someone watches carefully and finally comes out of the shadows face to face. He sees two children. One girl lies still. The other stands in front of her, courageously covering his girlfriend's body. The younger is exhausted and wounded. The other, clenching his fists, stands firmly despite his own fatigue. The guy tries to reassure them. It points to Mucus as Sora, his loyal ally. It does not pose any threat. But in response, he gets rage. The feast exposes his teeth, retreats, and forbids. Seeing the determination of the boyborn, the hero understands it is time to act, to retreat nowhere. He commands Suri's immobilization of the guy. The mucus releases tentacles that instantly hamper each movement. The guy screams and resists in vain. The hero approaches the wounded girl, touches her forehead. Her skin is cold, life has gone. The prisoner in the tenets of Sora screams from despair. His voice is torn from the depth of pain, not believing in the loss. But the guy remains calm. He knows there is still a chance. After concentrating, she puts his hand and speaks a spell of the resurrection. The ray of light touches the girl. She shudders and opens her eyes, returns from behind the border of death. Aura of a gentle glow wraps her body. Breasts rise, the eyelids tremble. She wakes up looking back. The hero not only resurrected her, but also healed every wound. The girl looks at him silently, not knowing what to say. Sora crawls into it. The girl is surprised to watch what is happening. Her mind does not have time to comprehend everything. The hero understands they need a rest. Touches the rinse guy, he falls asleep instantly, devoid of worry. and then carefully covers both under one blanket, leaving them in silence so that they can calmly recover after all experienced. While the children are resting, Leon decides to take advantage of their special ability to scan their characteristics. Turns out that they are 5 years old. They are cats of the second level of development, weak as suitable for children, but have a noticeable agility, especially in girls. This is undoubtedly a brother and sister. Considering their dream, Leon thinks, despite her young age, physical abilities are striking. How did they manage to survive alone in the wild forest? What led them into this dangerous place? The girl slowly opens her eyes. Seeing Leon nearby, she shudders with surprise and looks with anxiety, trying to remember who he is. When it fully comes to consciousness, the body tenses and the eyes flare up with distrust. She rushes to her brother and begins to wake him up, clapping his cheeks. Leon's words do not reassure her. Even when Sora is trying to explain that they have saved them, the girl does not believe. She is keenly wary. She is ready to defend herself to the last. Realizing that ordinary words will not help, Leon remembers the clown who could ever laugh anyone, especially children. Inspired by the image of Vesulan, he decides to try to win the trust of humor. It's time to show that he is not an enemy. A smile appears on his face. The plan matures in the head. The funniness is distracted by their attention, and at the same time will discharge the tension. Leon wrings grimaces, raises his eyebrows, curves, trying to laugh the kids. The atmosphere is a little softened. But there is no reaction. Brother and sister silently watch him as a statue's, a single smile. The guy gets lost. Why didn't work? But he does not seem. He begins to dance strangely, bizarrely twisting the body. The face of children tremble. Laughter is about to break through. It accelerates the rhythm, and here the first explosion of laughter, then the second. Ice distrust begins to melt just in the eyes. A fun dance finally discharges the atmosphere. Children laugh loudly and sincerely. Leon smiles with relief. The contact is established. Subsequently, he prepares dinner for them. Brother and sister eat with appetite. Eyes glow with joy. For the first time, they feel safe. Despite the delicious dish, there is still distrust in the eyes. Leon smiles softly. Everything is clean. There is no poison. Children relax a little and eat. They immediately ask for additives. Smiles are wider, eyes grateful. Now a real confidence appears in the views. After dinner, Leon appears and tells that he is a traveler. When everyone calmed down a little, he asks, why did such small children find themselves in the forest? Toddlers are importantly viewing, squeezing their palms. Their indecision is a silent cry of pain, which testifies to the difficult past. They say that they became slaves. Parents have never seen. The names do not know. All childhood is a solid chain of wandering. Because of their abilities, they were exploited, forcing them to hard work. During transportation through the forest, a monster attacked the visa. Everyone else was killed. Only they survived, and from that day their long way of survival began, together, themselves against the world. Leon listens silently, and sympathy in his eyes. Scars on children's bodies speak louder than words. The body remembers every blow. The look becomes determined. It will not allow them to suffer again. Seeing that the children have already recovered a little, he proposes to go with him, where they are waiting for peace. Smiling, Leon assures that everything will be fine now. They are safe. He says he can overcome any monster with Sora. Confidence in his voice is like a shield that envelops children. But the forest does not do. They are in front of a huge monster. It growls, scaring the children, but Leon remains calm. He hugs the kids and asks to just look, assures that there is no reason for fear. It is time to show that the words were not empty. Sora breaks forward and destroys the monster with one powerful blow. Children are silent. Leon just smiles. Not wanting to waste time, he easily takes them in his arms. A new way is ahead, but now they are no longer alone. Leon rushes forward, cutting the thickets at an impressive speed like a wind. The children whom he carried does not even have time to react. His determination and strength are surprising. While Leon sneaks through the thick forest, a wild boar suddenly attacks it. A giant monster rushes simply in him, leaving no chance to escape. Without hesitation of a second, Leon raises his hand and releases a fiery spell. The arrow flames with a whistle cut the air, flying into the target. The fiery blow hit directly into the boar, knocking it down and covering the flames. One of the toddlers, clamped in strong arms, whispers with enthusiasm, "Wow," amazed by the power of the rescuer. Finally, the edges got. There, on the edge of the forest, Leon notices two exhausted men who are barely holding on their feet. One of them, seeing the children, pale from shock. He does not believe his eyes. How did these two survive? It becomes clear in the expression. He knew them before. Children are squeezed instantly, trembling with fear. A man shoots a hood, a former mentor of children, a cruel slave. He explodes with anger, screams indignantly, accusing them of escape and the problems she caused. In fury, he gets a whip and orders the children to come closer. Leon watches silently, but when a broken tree cracks in his hand, it becomes clear he will not tolerate. Leon becomes confident between children and a slave. His view is full of contempt. He shows his body. There is no road back. Without his eyes, he immediately asks, "What do you do with them?" The slave traveler is aggressively demanded to return the property, but Leon only holds the children stronger. He is not going to concede. The slave dealer considers himself a legal owner, insisting that he has the right to punish children. His eyes are indignant. But Leon calmly asks, "Where is the evidence? If it's your slaves, show confirmation." Toddlers hide behind his back, feeling true protection for the first time. The words are not enough. The slave truck confidently states that there is a slavery brand look at their hands, but when everyone pays attention, a surprise expects them. Slavery labels disappeared without a trace. In the eyes of children, surprise and misunderstanding. Only Leon remains calm. He knew that the connection was torn. Keeping cold confidence, Leon shows the hands of children. The slave traveler is pale. There is no label. Panic absorbs him. Leon asks, "What kind of right do you have to punish them if they are not even yours?" The slave traveler is angry but cannot provide evidence. His power crumbles right in his eyes. Leon reveals a secret. He used the robbery technique from the class of thieves. He took away the slave contraction, and now the children are free. Although the technique is forbidden, it resorted to it because there was no other chance. The slave traveler explodes with indignation. He screams about theft and prepares for the attack, although he is noticeably weakened. The last forces directs revenge. But Leon does not give him any chance. In one movement, he cuts the attacker with an ice spell, instantly stopping an attempt at the attack. His voice is solid and the eye is icy. He made the attack, so now he will answer. The slave traveler stands, covered by despair and misunderstanding. Leon calmly feints the enemy with one accurate blow and does not even look. After that, he returns to the children. Are they ready to move on? Both nod. Finally, they are free. On the horizon, the walls of the big city are already visible. 3 travelers are slowly approaching the city gates. At the gate, they are met by the security guard and asks in surprise, these children themselves unaccompanied. Leon demonstrates his Dirang traveler document. His confidence and certificates immediately raise respect for soldiers. Guardians allow you to go through, albeit with some confusion. However, Leon understands that it is not Melissa. The city is called Liberty. He asks, "Where is this name?" Turns out that the city was renamed in honor of the legendary hero Leon Liberto. It was he who saved these lands from the King Demon 100 years ago. Leon is stunned. The city is named in his honor. He did not even imagine that he left such a deep mark in history. He is delighted with the city. It blossomed, filled with noise and people. In 100 years, it turned into a majestic citadel of life. Faced with a new reality, Leon appeals to children. What are their plans for the future? Now there are many ways in front of them. The children look at each other silently. Freedom is new and unfamiliar. They do not yet know how to live without fear. Ahead is unknown, but for the first time it does not seem terrible. Leon reminds children, there are no slavery from now on, everything in their hands. But in the eyes of the toddlers still wanders that they do not fully believe in their freedom and are afraid to take the first step. The idea is to temporarily leave children in the shelter. It is clear to him how difficult it is for them to realize all this. The world of freedom seems too far away. With glitter in the eyes and tears on the cheeks, children be pleased with Leon not to leave them, asking for permission to stay with him. Their sincerity disarms. They are afraid to stay themselves. An unexpected request knocks him out of balance. He fades for a moment, unable to find the answer. He did not expect such a turn of events. Excited by promising to be obedient, children are asked to stay. Leon hesitates until he suddenly has thought, it would be good if they became the same as Sora, and then the world around suddenly changes. In an instant, it is a new reality. The children really became satellite animals like Sora. Their status is officially entrenched. They are now associated with it, inseparable. Leon is stunned. What just seemed imagination became true. Iris and Aru now his true satellites. This was only possible with monsters. He understands that this event is contrary to everything that they knew about the tear. But probably, there was a special condition for such a connection, possibly trust and sincere desire. Looking at their new characteristics, Leon sees incredible growth. The level of agility in Iris has reached a S-cluster. It's more than just a bond, is a new future. Leon decides that with such abilities, he will be able to take them without hesitation. Now they are full members of the team. Undoubtedly in the heart, it allows children to stay with him. From now on, they are one team, one family who goes together. Iris and Archuk do not hold back happiness. They rush Leon into the arms. This moment is filled with warmth. Now it is not just a savior for them, but a real home. Leon decides to take care of the children to the end. It starts with a simple one. It is time to arrange a warm bath so that they can finally feel clean and cozy. Wash their hair carefully, wipes with a towel, puts on a clean outfit. In every movement there is a care and tenderness that they have been missing all their lives. Now Iris and Archuk look completely different, neat, calm, and smiling. These children no longer recognize frightened slaves from the forest. Leon suddenly realizes that they do not even have names. This cannot be left like this. He has a determination to correct this injustice. He looks at the girl and gently says, "You are Iris." Her eyes flashing, the name she has never had became part of it. He gives the boy the name of Aruk. He smiles sincerely, repeating him proudly. At that moment, they both seem to find themselves truly. Dinner time, Leon prepares a lush table, laying generous portions. Iris and Archuk do not bring his eyes off from delicacy. It looks like a dream that has become reality. In the eyes of toddlers, a genuine admiration. They cannot believe that such food is for them. The world seems to come back to them. They stop before the dishes, not yet believing that they can eat. From the past experience, food was not something that belonged to them. Carefully asked, "Can we really?" Their voices tremble, and the eyes are full of hope. This is how the real distrust looks like the world has taught. Leon just smiles gently. "You are free, now all yours." His words sound like a spell that finally removes the chains of fear. Archu and Iris are instantly pouring on food without holding back hunger. The eyes shine, the movements are fast. Food has finally become a source of joy, not struggle. Leon watches with warmth. Full plates are empty, and behind them is a loud belching. For the first time in a long time, he laughs with them. Satisfied and tired, everyone falls asleep. Leon looks at sleeping children and thinks that they need to learn to protect themselves. The workout will start tomorrow. In Liberty's night, he wanders the streets, looking at the statues erected in his honor. Among the glory of the past, it wanders anxiety. He still looks for his real way. At this point, a girl named Hetty calls the satellite call. Her movements are convinced. The voice is calm. She is ready to make her choice. With a decisive glitter in her eyes, she announces that time to move. Her group is going ahead of the unknown, but everyone feels something significant begins. Leon leads Issa and Aruk to the forest. A mighty monster appears unexpectedly in front of them. Without warning, he orders children to meet the fear of face-to-face. It is time for a real test. The calm of Iris instantly changes to panic as she sees the monster. Even the monster seems to have not expected such a turn of events. Leon speaks confidently and calmly. The orc does not pose a threat. Their skills are enough. He releases a monster with one gesture. A hefty green monster stands before them. Leon explains that it is only necessary to hit the leg. The angry orc is attacked, and girls have to respond instantly. Iris and Archu beat the orca at the same time, and he flies into the air, disappearing in the distance. Leon is amazed, but does not stop in turn a new test. A huge dragon comes out of the shade. With a smile on the mouth, Leon encourages them not to be afraid. The dragon is only the next step in their training, and they have to go together. Iris and Ruanan are stunned in front of a slow approaching giant dragon. Leon, meanwhile, quietly observing the seriousness of the test. Only 3 days have passed, but already noticeable. Iris with Eruku quickly adapted, confidently kept and ready for new challenges. Leon brings them to the Vicinity Guild in Liberty. The greatness of the building and the luxury of the interior are delight. This place is breathing in legends. Guild worker is surprised, a man with 2 children in front of her. She thinks that he came to write them on the test, and Leon dispels assumptions, showing his own license. His certificate of the adventurer of rank D strikes an employee. Leon adds that girls also want to join and ask when the next exam. But a woman warns it will be extremely difficult to register such young candidates. There are serious age restrictions. Officially, children cannot become adventure seekers because of communication requirements with customers, although exceptions are possible if they are in the same team with an adult. After rating the risks, Leon decides not to hurry events. It is better to postpone the registration for later. At the same time, he decides to take a new task for himself until children can officially join. Having carefully studied the board with the missions, Leon chooses the task that is right for him. It's time to go on the road again. The task of the rank C is to study the surroundings of the region. The monsters are increasingly appearing near the settlement. After estimating the distance, Leon calculates he will be able to get in half an hour if she runs, but it is stopped by a senior adventure seeker with a mockery. They say that doing so small here. Leon calmly replies that he is an adventurer. The opponent immediately looks at the girls and asks who they are. Leon is directly saying that they are not like adventure seekers. It affects the pride of both, and there is an instant tension. Bold Man breaks the task from Leon's hands, brazenly declaring that he was the first to notice. He adds a cowardly, they say it is an adventure with 2 children. But before he says something else, Sora cuts into his face, and he barely holds his feet. Sora asks Leon whether to punish this brazen, but he just smiles and refuses to kill nothing. The adventurer, in shock, does not believe that he was hit by mucus. Leon explains, yes, it was my satellite. He was attacked by his own mucus and nothing more. The offended man grabs a sword and swears to destroy the creature. According to the rules, a monster who has affected the person is subject to liquidation, but Leon denies firmly. The crowd has attention. The adventurer insists that it is not his fault. Like he went too close, people whisper around. Guild workers rush to reassure the crowd. They turn to an adventurer named Gris and ask to stop this nonsense. But Gris screams even louder, swaying the title of Class B adventurer. It requires silence, blocking everyone around. At this point, something strikes him in his hand, and he shudders. Leon calmly approaches closer and coldly asks, "What are you doing?" leaving Gris in confusion. Enrita, a figure that causes respect. Its authority makes everyone subsides. One look, and the atmosphere changes dramatically. She casts a strict view of Gris and requires explanation. Guild staff immediately obey, realizing that there will be no jokes. Riadat summarizes the situation, teaching the essence clearly and without emotions. It turns out that Gris tried to take the task and attacked Leon's satellite. He is driven into a corner. It is a murmur, yes, admitting guilt. Muttering sorry and say nothing more, he leaves Guild in rage, notwithstanding shame. Henrietta suggests that everything is fine with Leon. The guy thank her for her support. A little embarrassed to her as Mrs. Gunrita, confusing a name, she seems familiar to him. But with a light smile, he replies that it is simple to call it Henrietta. He calmly adds that he is currently considering himself an ordinary traveler, not seeking much attention. But her acquaintance Kaze breaks into the conversation, calling it unrestrained modesty, because Henrietta belongs to the adventurers of ace rank and immediately asks not to exaggerate. Kaze looks closely at Leon, and her smile becomes cunning. The look speaks for itself. Frankly recognizes that he fully corresponds to her tastes, hinting at a special interest. She begins to flirt, but Henrietta stops her slight slap on her head, preventing it from going too far. With a serious tone, Henrietta orders not to corrupt the guy. Kaze in response to his shoulders, and convinces that all this is just innocent jokes. But Henrietta no longer jokes, warns that she is not interested in the tastes of others, but it is not necessary to violate the law. Hearing her joke about a cut head, the coat is pale. A girl's fair-haired girl appears nearby, watching both. She falls asleep with compliments, calling true beauties, but they are silent, without reacting, only watched. The same blonde goes to another company, creating a wave of tension. One of the girls murmur, another weird, but in the eyes of a new one shines true admiration. She tries to bribe two girls with toys, and sweets looking for an approach in any way. But her attempts only scare girls and they hide. Other women intervene, asking to stop this rapprochement. One of them says directly, she looks too strange and only scares children. The rest of the audience supports this reproach with silent condemnation. The woman apologizes. Leon, meanwhile, proudly represents his team. Kaze and Tina are his faithful ally. Then he calls the names. Girls call Ariuk and Iris, a funny flying mucus Sora, and he himself is Leon. One of the women is amazed at mucus agility and asks whether Leon is a ukratiddle. He confirms confidently. The girl apologizes for another man's behavior. In the memoirs, there is a loser warrior who is not admitted to the exam, perhaps, so he is angry. She comments only slightly breaks on young men. Then he asks Leon what mission he chose. Leon shows her a task. Everyone reads carefully, the mission for 3 weeks without performers, because even the road to Rivjas scares many. They are striking the courage of the guy, the task of the rank C, difficult and dangerous. They did not expect such a choice. When asked about his rank, they find out he is only D. All are surprised. For this age it is a great achievement. But immediately warn, the level of the task exceeds its rank. It is possible to choose something easier. Leon does not hesitate. If the mission is ignored, someone needs help. His devotion strikes one of the women to the depths of her soul. He is captured by his determination. Both girls are plowed in his palm and offered their help. Now he is not alone. Women are happy to go together, seeing a wonderful opportunity to spend time with children, which is a lot of annoying Tina, which clearly waited for a completely different one. For a moment, Leon is immersed in reflection. If these people remain nearby, it will not be possible to escape on their own. Eric and Iris grasp his hands, openly showing his discontent with such an idea and trying to keep it away from further action. Leon politely refuses to help, confesses that he is embarrassed, relying on others. Despite the explosive character, he is sure he will cope, but women stand on their own, they help more for their own rest. One of the travelers is worried. It is difficult to travel with 2 babies. In fact, it is not an ordinary company at all. Leon thinks that only a few days have passed since he met Orok and Iris, but it seems that during this time, they have already passed a lot. Women assure that they are not interested in reward. They want to reg for the sake of thermal sources. Leon suspects other motives, but understands no matter how he refuses, they will still join. One of them notes, this trip is a chance to finally relax after long hassle and tasks. In the imagination, it is already in hot springs with the children, and in general dreams of a bath with an attractive guy. Her fantasies sound suspicious even for girlfriends. The atmosphere is tensed. Leon and Tina are feeling awkward, and another woman is indignant for her girlfriend for too candid wishes. Meanwhile, the woman ralks a cart to 3, saying that there will be enough space for 3 additional babies. Leon is interested in inspection of an animal that pulls a cart and asks if it is not a unicorn. The girl confirms. Her name is Cher, and she is much stronger than a regular horse. One of the satellites adds that the road to Regina will last about an hour if you go by this cart. Imaging a close trip with Leon and children, Tina and other women are inadvertently read without hiding strange enthusiasm. But the illusions are dispelled when it turns out they left only space for them in the back of the cart, away from the dreamy company. Finally, everyone comes to the village of Regina. It is really cozy, with several neat houses, mills, and a picturesque nature, which immediately fascinates the views. Once they appear, the elderly man is amazed and honored recognizes Henriette. Bowing, he turns to her as a lady. He clarifies whether this group agreed to the task, and Regret adds, the village is poor, and the sources are the only thing that is famous, to hope for a generous reward. Reet assures that they are only here as Leon's accompaniment on vacation, and only he will receive a fee. Hearing this, the old man smiles with relief. Leon seems to be an adventure seeker and asks to share details about the task. The elder talks about the forest nearby. Recently there was a monster that began to go to the village. This is unusual and causes serious concern among residents. The task of Leon is to find out the cause of the abnormal behavior of the monsters and to stop the possible threat to the village. Leaning with respect, the elder asks to do everything possible. Leon and the team are suspected. Something is really wrong in the forest. The team arrives in the forest. Everyone prepares for a thorough examination. The tension increases with every step. One of the women notes that it will not be easy to find something in such a large forest, but Tina confidently states that this is not a problem for her. Opening herself as a reconnaissance, Tina focuses. Her gaze slides carefully in the forest. She is in full readiness to identify the danger first. Smiling, Tina confesses that he has considerable experience in monitoring children, which is beaten by even Iris and Oroka from the Panthelic. It is also proud of monsters. Henrietta adds for the shadow, such tasks are a true element. Henrietta throws the question, was it reasonable to bring girls with them? In her voice there is a concern. Leon calmly replies that they have more power than they seem. These girls are not as simple as it seems at first glance. Someone significantly points out that even Leon does not look like an ordinary guy. The whole company is gradually aware that this mission has no casual people. Deep in the forest, alarming silence. No creature, no sound. It makes everyone alert. Tina activates tracking skills, the result of 0. Henrietta is amazed. This abnormal silence is really scared. Leon understands that his ability to detect monsters is limited by radius. Without spending time, he uses a special whistle to lure the enemy. The powerful whistle sounds the air, flying far deep into the forest. The voltage increases. Tina feels nothing that causes suspicion, but Henrietta has already caught the movement. The monster is approaching from the east. All are instantly preparing for the battle. Tina confirms her words, a danger from the southeast. The scout is amazed by prediction accuracy. One of the women is surprised that Henrietta has surpassed even the scout, but everyone quickly switch attention, a threat nearby. The noise rises in the forest. Something big is approaching. The team is preparing for a fight with a giant creature. A giant tarantula appears among the trees. One of the women anxiously exclaims its name. It is a monster of a class of high risk. The spider is rapidly approaching. A woman does not hesitate forward, covering the rest of the group. The spell flashes on her as Shable. The earth rises with a roar, forming a stone wall that stops the advance of the monster. Reigning courageously, ordered to stay away from the children, adults should cope with this creature. Direct blow, she fearlessly fights with Tarantula, demonstrating determination and fighting power. Leon warns, enemies are approaching. Tina also feels their presence. The battle is just beginning. Dozens of smaller tarantulas come out of hut. Henrietta is already leading a fierce battle, but her sword is confused in the spider web. She is trapped. The group is surrounded by Class B monsters. One of the women notices there are less than enemies, and the situation becomes critical. But no one escapes. On the contrary, everyone boldly rushes into battle. Tina and Warrior are attacked harmoniously, destroying enemies one by one. Suddenly, a tarantula appears behind the channel's back. Tina warns the girlfriend in time. The moment of tension is broken by an unexpected threat. The monster is already swollen when the Sora, a tiny mucus, jumps forward and instantly strikes the enemy. Kanai does not believe in salvation, sincerely thanks, and Sora, proudly inflated, is wondered if everything is fine with her. Leon firmly orders Eric and Iris to stay behind. Without any objection, the girls obey. Everyone trusts him completely. Henrietta exclaims his name anxiously, and Kanai fades. Leon goes straight to a flock of tarantulas, getting a sword. Fearlessly rushes forward, no doubt, no stop. He accepts the battle itself as a true warrior. It breaks through the monsters, destroying a few in a moment. All women are amazed at the Nost. In front of them not just Leon, but a real hurricane. It moves further as if dancing between strokes. Jump, rotation, another stroke. Every movement is perfect, confident, and deadly. In the middle of the shadows in the depths of the forest, another giant tarantul appears. Henrietta watches over him, noticing the shadow that crawls in dusk. The giant spider in a panic escapes. Henrietta tries to stop him, but the wound makes herself known. She barely holds on. Meanwhile, Leon is landing and immediately disrupting into a new jump, threatening with the accuracy of the death machine. He flies directly to the monster. He faded away, without having time to react or escape. Everything has already been decided. Leon's sword pierces the air, cuts the monster in half. Victory is lightning, perfect. Calmly descends to the ground, and 3 women are surprised to watch him, as if nothing happened, just goes on. Henrietta is shocked. She seems to be a dream. Tina confirms that such a technique is close to the skill of Henrietta herself. Do I have the right? Thoughts are confused. Doubts cut off her confidence. Everything looks so incredible that you want to make sure in reality. Kanai looks embarrassed at Leon, who only modestly says he is able to fencing a little. Recently, she considered him a simple ukritittle, but suddenly Iris and a new danger has been arising. The giant tarantula emerges from the hut. Intrida warns, lightly girls are threatened with an attack. Iris reacts instantly. He throws a monster with a frantic force. Her determination leaves no chance. Everyone around is fading. Even Enriety is amazed by the girl's power. What she sees goes beyond the idea. The air hangs in the air. The victory of Iris and the Oroka looks too light. Henrietta is a statue, and Tina only states, girls are strong and charming. From the distance, Levon watches silently. His face does not express any emotions. Slowly steps through the forest where the autumn leaves circulate. Leon goes confident when the silence suddenly breaks the roar. He stops, studying a new threat. Giant tarantula, the queen of the pack, appears from the shadows. Its size exceeds all previous ones. The group fades, realizing that they have a creature of the level of S-. Everyone stands in a battle stand. It turns out that together with the queen they were surrounded by a flock of giant spiders. Stress increases. This is not a life. The fair-haired woman offers retreat, and Henrietta supports. Escape is the only chance to survive in this situation. Henrietta tries to warn Leon, but does not have time. The giant tarantulas emerge from all sides. The trap closes. Panic, monsters are not escaping, but everyone prepares for the most desperate battle in life. Leon cuts the web with one accurate blow, trying to free the passage. But the threads are extremely strong and elastic. Its sword does not break them completely. Kan rushes with the magic of fire. He hopes to burn the web and break out of the trap. But horror covers it when it turns out. Even her flames are powerless. The web remains intact. Tina captures the web. She instantly finds himself defenseless. However, it does not seem it strikes, while the alarming Henrietta screams her name. Once in the spiderweb, Tina thinks with regret that she will not fall out in thermal with children. But even trapped, surrounded by claws, she is not going to give up, it just not to take it. Seeing the threat, she gathered the last forces, a jerk, an attempt to escape, a flash of determination in her eyes. It will not allow the spider to celebrate the victory. There is a chance icy blade, frozen magic, a deadly blow to the heart of the spider. But will the strength be enough to carry out the idea? A powerful blow causes harm, but the creature stubbornly holds, sits, does not fall. Hope melts suddenly. Leon appears calm and assembled. He raises 2 fingers and whispers silently, lightning, light breaks darkness. The lightning strikes the target. The electrical explosion covers the queen of tarantulas. The whole strength of the element beats for sure. The monster slowly falls down. The girls froze, not believing what they saw. Tina digs a shock silently. Her heart is beating. The dead body of the queen is still cracking. The discharge runs the remains of her flesh. The victory is obvious. Tina sincerely thanks Kanai. It is sure that she caused thunder. The heart fills gratitude. But the girlfriend gets down. She does not even have such magic. Everyone is stunned, who then caused lightning. Views turn to Leon. He only looks at everyone quietly, as if nothing happened. He recognizes with a barely noticeable smile. He is familiar with magic. Silence hangs over the battlefield. The bodies of tarantulas lie still, and women are stunned. One of the soldiers expresses suspicion that something is too strange in Leon. Others just smile cunningly, watching the guy hugging 2 whistles. He gently praises them, strokes their heads, and the animals shine with joy. Behind the back, someone confesses, it is a whole team in one body, a fighter, a magician, a commander. Is he really only a boy? The question hangs in the air, doubt everyone. Girls cannot take their eyes off the young man and animals. One of them is so amazed that it even launches saliva. Her girlfriend instantly notices it. The team focuses on the main thing again. They explore the queen's carcass and agree it was the source of all forest disasters. Its appearance expelled other creatures from the forest. The monsters rushed to the village, running away from its cruelty. Leon explains that the spiders were destroyed by most animals, and if they were not stopped, they would destroy everything alive and reach people. The nearest village is Regina. It was to become their first prey. The girl suggests maybe no one left there. The voice from the crowd firmly says that the monsters should be destroyed to one, just in case. The guy coughs, then whistles sharply on his fingers. The sound is powerful. The girl is surprised and rotated. The woman shudders, she asks worriedly. The young man shrugs his shoulders, just whistle, but it adds that such a sound can be attracted to the monster. Everyone remembers, before the appearance of the queen, was heard the same piercing whistle. The girl with loose hair is interested in how far this sound is heard. He probably could cover the entire forest. After her words, everyone is fading instantly. If this is true, is he guilty of all events? They mention on the way there were not only spiders, every monster, as if by order, opposed them. The village elder does not hide shock, learning about meeting with the queen, but when they see that everyone is alive, he sighs with relief. He was passionate about thanks. They say he was sure Lady Henrietta's detachment will cope, but girls modestly refuse praise, a real hero another. Or tries to convince the elder who tells the truth, but his grandfather just laughs, considers it another fun joke. One of the comrades happily reports that almost all the monsters in the forest are destroyed. The village can finally breathe calmly. The elder is amazed, but sincerely believes this news gives him hope. Travelers stop to look at their native village from the hill. The relief shines in the eyes. The long way is complete. They returned home. Everyone is invited to the main guest bath of the village. This place is true pride, thermal springs, luxury, and peace. This time, everything is just for them. The elder with a smile advises to relax and enjoy well-deserved warmth. Tired but happy characters plunge into recovery. The mission is complete. As soon as they remember the source, everyone exclaims, but the worst of the girls first rushes forward, as if it is ready to dive into the water. Without shame, she invites Leon to join the women's bath. All stunned like thunder, you do not hear it daily. Leon denies confusedly, he is a guy, but the girl just laughs. After so much experienced, it is time to get to know closer. For her, it's not just words. She will confidently go to the bath, without clothes, neither shame nor hesitation. Leon refuses sharply, declaring his feelings. Someone from the outside, the guy is already an adult enough. He is unlikely to change his mind. The dispute begins, who has the right to be in a women's bathing? They offer only a girl, but if the boy goes to the man, his mascot should go with him. Leon is not left how to agree, but two girls in a panic grasp him by their shoulders, desperately protesting. Emotions are raging. One is almost suffocated by indignation. The other tries to keep calm. Finally, a man rakes a voice. Enough of this chaos. The scene changes. A hot spring, the steam is bubbling over smooth water. Peace like a mirror, as if nothing happened. Walking the corridor, the girls are discussing Leon the first. One regrets she wanted to stay with her children. The other only shrugs guilty. Maria suddenly appears. She is running with a smile, hunting happily to Henrietta. In her eyes, a genuine admiration. Maria thanks for the rescue of Leon. If not for them, he would have died. She knows that this mission was much more dangerous than everyone thought. But three girls look at her with cold suspicion. Catching this atmosphere, Maria changes the topic. She suddenly announces, a special reward is waiting for everyone, deserved and important, but will Leon get his? The question is, will Leon receive the same reward as everyone else? And so, though it begins to flow. Maria says the reward was increased because of the risk, but from the depths of the hall, the guild employee denies. No, Leon will not give the same. Henrietta only sighs. She predicted everything. Then he said with a serious look directly, the main merit is for Leon. Otherwise, this case would not be completed. Mary is amazed. She did not expect that such words would be heard from Riet. His authority was undeniable. Henrietta adds that even the usual Tarantul would be a test for the rank of D, and Leon won the queen himself. Maria became awake. The eyes have been rounded. Even the Insorat mocks her reaction. Two girls smile while Mary tries to keep her face. She thinks Henrietta never exaggerates. Even despite the customization of Kanai, her words are always accurate. Maria comes to the conclusion, Leon deserves a complete reward, and even for raising, at least before B perhaps to A. She looks at the audience, hesitating. do they decorate the story for Leon for the sake of Leon, but understands lies here is superfluous, they would be lost. Maria begins to believe Leon really overcame the queen, and this is only a child. Not surprisingly, his name is spreading among guild workers. She still thinks of him. Leon is young, strong, and beautiful. It is not at all like brutal men who are faced daily. He is like a sip of fresh air. Imaging his noble posture, Mary stops herself, not time to dream. But even without a victory, Leon's name is already flying forward, along with the glory that Henrietta and others have involuntarily launched into the world. Henrietta understands that even with rank and will not be able to convince the guild of the truth about Leon. Maria also decides to report events, although she does not hope that she will be heard immediately. But before deciding something, Maria seeks to see personally whether the guy is as exceptional as they are talking about. Since then, Leon has begun to take more tasks, gradually demonstrating his skills. Among them is the search for goblins, the harvesting of healing herbs, and the return of a lost work of art. It seems like ordinary orders for beginners. That is why it was difficult to evaluate its true strength. It looked everyday. But the girl on the reception is shocked when she learns Leon independently destroyed the whole Hoblin den. Among the killed Goblin Lord, an extremely dangerous creature that only strong groups cope with, she is shocked. It is even more striking that the enemy is destroyed by one accurate blow to the throat. It is almost unrealistic, even for experienced acrodatators. Leon does not stop. He quietly pours on a steady whole mountain of herbs. They are clearly more than someone ever brought. And not just grass, most of them are rare specimens that are ideal for the most difficult Zil. Even experienced seekers would barely find a dozen a day, and he gathered hundreds in a matter of hours. Passing the work of art, Leon remembers. On the way he came across a gang of thieves, won and returned the stolen. This gang had a formidable name, Psychiatric Hospital, and even veterans preferred not to contact her. Without any support, Leon seized one of the leaders. The administrator barely believes the eyes. Prisoner, covered with horror, whispered, "Leon is a monster," and the administrator finally agrees all the truth said about him. Yes, every rumor of Leon is not a fiction, but a reality. Suddenly, Leon notices Sora, his slim, sluggish, and exhausted. The one who always sat on his head is barely holding on. The Kushivcha swore sideways. Everything was fine with him recently, but now they are covered by true fear. Leon is lost in guessing. Maybe Sora ate something strange. Usually he fed only by small creatures. But suddenly the body of Sora begins to glow. Everyone around stunned. What happens to him? Leon does not understand the reasons. The glow seems unusual but not harmful, but the mystery remains. He decides to go to the guild. Perhaps an experienced trainer will help you understand what happened. Together with the girls, Leon rushes to the guild rapidly, holding Sora in her hands. The administrator immediately notices a strange glow and asks if Mucus is ill. Leon confesses that it all started suddenly. Having studied the situation, the administrator concludes Sora evolves. This rarely happens, especially among the domesticated creatures. It proves Leon is not just strong, he cares. The guy thinks himself, though he beat many monsters, no evolved in his eyes. Suddenly Sora changes color. His body becomes bright red. Everyone around stunned. What is the new form? The administrator's smile disappears when she realizes, in front of her red mucus. Its characteristic shock strength, magic, and endurance reach the levels and even the legendary S. Panic flashes in the room. It warns that such a creature can be dangerous. Even rank A is difficult to handle red mucus, but Sora spoke and says he feels great. Leon asks if everything is fine with him. Sora corresponds calmly. He feels strength, but controls it completely. After a brief check, Sora again jumps joyfully on Leon's head. The examiner, making sure of his stable state, allows you to go. Girls are noticeably relaxing. Mucus returned to their usual cheerful state. The secretary reports Leon. Guildmaster left a message for him. As soon as he appears, he must visit him immediately in the office. Leon is amazed whether it was indeed a guilder himself. In the meantime, Denver is leaning over the stacks of documents, seeing the reviews. Guildmaster Liberto, known as Denver, meets the arrivals and confirms. Among them, there is an adventure seeker named Leon. Looking closely at the guy, he cannot believe his eyes, as if a regular baby, but the companion insists Leon's dossier is perfect. Denver is not sure whether Leon should be raised to senior rank. The victory over Goblin Lords seems to him exaggerated. The satellite notes, Goblin cannot be underestimated. They are much more dangerous than they seem, especially lords. Goblin Lord never appears alone. Its appearance is always fearful, and even experienced adventurers, it causes considerable difficulties. Denver admits to defeat such a monster on its own is a miracle. This usually requires a team. This is exactly what he invited Leon to find out the truth about that battle. The woman asks in surprise whether the boy was really alone. Leon lowered his eyes silently when two twin girls appear nearby, a participant of the battle. Denver quickly adds that it was not children and not mucus. That woman shows red mucus and says he also participated. The Guilder's face is surprised. The woman sighs and with irony asks how such a person in general manages the guild. He jokingly justifies his subordinates, but she immediately parts work is simply translated into them. Denver inspires to find out, were there any combat participants except Leon, girls, and mucus. He reassures the boy, they say, does not keep evil, he just wants to hear the truth. Leon is calm, that's all the truth. Denver reports that Maria requires an immediate increase in Leon to rank B or even higher, but he considers the situation ambiguous. Guildmaster explains, to rise to rank B means to become the face of the guild. It's more than just a force, and the woman agrees there is a lot of responsibility. She offers a compromise. If rank B is too early, then at least increase Leon to the rank of C, because he deserved it. An additional argument is the victory over the Queen of Taunt. Together with Goblin Lord, this is convincing. Denver is amazed. However, there is doubt on his face. The woman instantly asks whether he considers Henriette as a liar, with an icy determination in his voice. Denver hesitates, trying to justify his care, but the woman strongly reproaches him for weakness, calling invertebrates. Leon, watching the dispute, only smiles, they say, they could solve everything without him. Henrietta walks down the corridor slowly, keeping Leon raising documents to see her steps are confident. She is convinced that this guy will not stop. The new achievements will only confirm that they are not mistaken, even despite the doubts of the Guilder. Imaging the future, Henrietta already sees how he receives a reward, and finally buy that stylish branded wallet. Leon is greeting with a new title, officially increased to see atmosphere as festive. Among the adventurers, the discussion begins. Although Guildmaster and Tried all agree Leon deserves even higher rank. In talking to girls, one of them asks whether it was called. Leon nods, he really got a summons. It turns out that they have received similar messages, more than just a coincidence. Everyone is gathering in a large hall. The guild representative goes to the crowd and begins to solemnly read the official announcement. The guild representative announces the reason for the collection. Everyone has been called for the investigation of mysterious abductions that Liberto has been shot recently. The main purpose of the new task is to expose the perpetrators who sowed fear and unknown throughout the city. The guildman reminds that Liberto has always been famous for safety, but recently crime has increased, and the causes have the best of the best. The task came from the ruler of the region and has the highest priority. The guild rests only on proven veterans. One of the adventurers raises his hand and asks why not the beginners were involved, all around only experienced fighters. He is answered, even before the intervention of the authorities, Guild received a private request from the victim's relative and has already sent several seekers to the task. But they all disappeared. A wave of worried whispers begins in the crowd. This task is only allowed to seek C and above. The risk is too high for experienced. One of the men outragedly draws attention to Leon and Gemini, calling them children. Leon immediately recognizes him, a familiar face from the past. The man begins to openly criticize the guild, saying such an increase is dishonest. The other confirms that Leon really got a rank C, provoking a wave of dissatisfaction. A woman with a sarcastic smile throws fire. He was simply not given a rank A, so everyone but him. It instantly causes an outbreak of anger. Warrior Gris acts in defense of Leon, assuring that the young man deserves even the rank higher than C. It rejects any assumption of plot or pressure, but the opponent only hides distrust of a fake smile. For a moment he agrees. But in a second she laughs again, pointing to the twins. They say, are they as strong as the loans of the rank of C? The woman looks strictly at Leon and asks whether it is necessary to eliminate the brows. The guy quietly asks her to stay. Leon smiles and says, girls are his beasts and can be more than can be imagined, for the Ukratitter is the norm. The enemy quit the threat. If Leon intervenes again, he does not live. One of the twins again asks for permission to intervene, but Leon stops her. These are only empty words. The man turns and goes. Leon and Gemini heads on the city streets, starting his own investigation and studying the situation around her. Each group is entrusted with self-investigation. Every day, everyone should send a report to ensure a prompt response in case of danger. The main requirement is to monitor any suspicious actions. Leon is wary of the surrounding crowd. He immediately notices two suspicious men in hoods, those stealthily approach the lone passerby. The instant movement is knocked down by a man from his feet and tightened into a dark lane. The kidnappers quickly apply the cloth to the victim's face, fainting it. Leon understands that these are experienced criminals. He with a gesture orders the twins to hide. Due to their cat nature, they instantly disappear from the field of view, as Leon taught them. His gaze grabs a cart that slowly leaves the city. The body is noticeably suspicious sack bag. Due to frequent theft, the luggage examination became very careful. The bag had to be tested. But Leon remembers that this bag has passed the security. This causes serious suspicion. Without hesitation, he rushes to the twins. The cart is already rolling towards the forest. The traces of the wheels, imperceptibly for outsiders, Leon with the party sneaks deep into the forest. Finally, a huge estate with a massive iron gate stands in front of them. It is here that the truth can be hidden. Watching the shadow, Leon understands. To act alone is suicide. He recalls that he will get reprimanded for his self-assembly, decides not to take risks turns, and rushes to the guild with a report. After the report, Leon returns with reinforcement. One of the warriors, looking back, doubts, is it really the place that was discussed? Leon nods confidently. The hiding place is quite close. The voltage increases. Everyone is preparing for a dangerous invasion. One of the searches boldly laughs. They say there is nothing interesting here, but this self-confidence will not last long. Leon explains that the building hides the barrier. Do not see it without special skills. Even the magician does not feel any distortion of mana. Doubt subsides. The lack of construction traces makes even skeptics think. Cases are alarming. Suddenly, one arrogant fighter explodes. Leon cheated on everyone, and they believed nonsense. With a mocking confidence, he reaches out his hand and encounters the invisible wall. He screams from the impact, and Leon only has time to shout. Hardly touching the barrier, the man disappears in the air. The portal appears in its place. The secret entrance is open. The squad is shocked. On the other side, the fighter is aware. He was already discovered. The enemy knew about them from the beginning. Leon understands that the barrier not only protects, but also notices enemies. It must be destroyed, and immediately. One of the magic finders causes a deadly whirlwind. The element is raging in the sky, going to break protection. Hurricaneous power breaks the barrier with the root. Others, in the meantime, cover it from the fierce wind, holding back the flurry. The fortress appears to them in full. Leon noticed how the magician creates a spell without saying a word. But there is no time to be surprised. One of the leaders of the detachment calls for, the moment has come to act. Everyone breaks forward. A determined warrior rushes first. A powerful blow is smashing the gate. The fragments fly all the way, and the detachment begins the offensive. Adventure seekers are rapidly bursting inside. The robbers notice the invasion and grasp weapons. Their leader orders to destroy everyone. A detachment of enemies rushes to the attack. Their confidence borders with boldness, consider themselves invincible. The underestimation of the enemy plays with them an evil joke. They rush forward with the whole mass, not suspecting the power of the enemy. But the seekers are not lost. From the first blow, they take the initiative in their own hands. Accurate, lightning attacks instantly reduce the number of opponents. One of the bandits, Panks, quickly becomes aware of his mistake. In front of him, real masters. It is neutralized without a chance to resist. Seeing this, other bandits begin retreat. At this time, one of the searches will wither a powerful spell. A wave of force is about to break out. One of the heroes notices, the enemy has power, but there is a lack of skills. Their movements are chaotic like newcomers. Leon concludes that despite wildness, these creatures are incredibly strong, and it raises new suspicions. Who are they really? One of the seekers is depressed. Even with rank B, it barely restrains the pressure. Something in this battle is not so. Suddenly, Leon's mucus with frantic force affects two opponents at once, knocking them down like toys. Mucus is fighting desperately, striking friends with powerful and accurate blows. It demonstrates the power that is not explained. The battlefield turns into chaos. Explosions, blows, magic, everything merges into a hell. Leon with twins break through the bench of enemies. The allies are stunned. Where does the magic from the dill? And robbers are in panic. Their plans are scattered. The twins are pulled forward, destroying enemies with lightning blows. Their strength was shocking even bandits. No one was waiting for these young girls to be a true horror of battle. After the victory of the adventure woman, enthusiastically praised Leon twins, calling them at the same time sweet and dangerous. The inspired mood is spreading. The leader of the team calls for not to keep up and act even more decisively. Soon humiliated, tide robbers came to everyone. Their obedience and defeat became an obvious point in the battle. The fortress is now in the hands of adventurers. The curious views quickly recognize familiar faces. These are members of the gang from Liberto, but their participation in large-scale abduction raises many questions. It is surprising not only their return after disappearance, but also a tangible new force that accompanies them. It becomes clear there is something more. The leader insists, before moving further, it is necessary to make sure that the stolen people are alive and intact. The interrogation begins. One of the bandits categorically denies the abduction. He assures that they say, did not even know about it. He claims that it is impossible to sell someone in the city. The black market is too rigidly controlled, and the risk is too high. The group is immersed in confusion. Too much does not match. Why do these people behave as if nothing happened? One of the prisoners is full of confusion. He does not understand where he is and why his hands are connected. The look is filled with genuine surprise. The interrogations do not produce results. The detachment head orders the fortress carefully. If there is no answer in words, it should be sought among things. Only a handful of stolen rooms are found in the secret rooms. They are much smaller than expected. Others disappeared without a trace. Prisoners are baptized from everything, as if they really don't remember anything. In their eyes, genuine surprise and fear. Gradually, the team is aware that what happens goes beyond the usual. Everything indicates a powerful external influence. Leon looks closely at the robbers. If they speak sincerely, then their consciousness has broken. The suspicion is increasing. There is another unknown force. One of the seekers notes that people at this level can only be managed with the help of mental control. This skill is an extraordinary rarity. In addition, no one has heard someone else to manage so many people. But suddenly Leon unexpectedly admits that he has a little like this magic. It sounds so everyday, as if he mentioned the little thing. He adds that even in the previous life, units had something similar, but on these people, the spell is even stronger than he had ever seen. Leon states that there is a culprit. All views turn to him. One of the comrades supports. It is worth listening to the end. The hall fades. Leon confidently reports that a real criminal is now among them. Whisper, tension, views everything is frozen in anticipation. Without hesitation, it forms a fiery spell. The flame spear grows in his hand and goes forward, the energy around compresses. A dark cloud is rising in the air. It seems to the side that it is a flock of birds. All for a moment are disoriented. But the illusion disappears as bats. A huge flock breaks into the attack. Their appearance is stunning the audience. Leon's spell punches a flock through. The fire expels the mask from creatures. Those who seemed animals are human and then monsters. Leon firmly says it's not people. Burning bodies cause horror. From the flame, the figure emerges. It comes to life, something creepy, with wings and a dark aura. Red eyes and fangs instantly give out the essence of the creature. It's not just a monster, they have a real vampire. Vampires come out of the shadows, exposing their presence. Their cold looks forced everyone to solidify. This species was considered a long time. The Orc girl swallows saliva with fear. The voltage thickens, even the air seems heavier. Leon explains, before them, night creatures thinking and bloodthirsty. Their only goal is to hunt and conquer. They were once afraid, but the world forgot about them. But the vampires have returned, and now everyone whom they leave without blood becomes a slave of their will, cursed forever. One of the women suddenly realizes the kidnappers were only on foot. All were vampires who were skillfully manipulating their consciousness, forcing him to hunt for the sake of blood. Smiling with predatory peace, the vampire leader confirms the guess and even praises the human mind, but at the same time proudly declares the unconditional advantage of their race. Without hesitation, vampires admit that they were standing for all the abductions, skillfully managing robbers like dolls. One of the men whispers, even one vampire is already a threat of catastrophe. Their appearance changes everything. Another warrior, having neglected by fear, recalls that vampires have a weak body. The servants are already overthrown. This is a chance to give the battle until there is little. Inspired by previous success, adventure seekers go on the offensive. Vampires are just watching the scornful audience, noting that the real battle is yet to come. And so, immediately disturbing calm, vampires at frantic speed are cut into rows. It paralyses a few efforts. The attack was lightning. One of them grabs a young man for his throat, smiles ominously, and whispers that he will soon become part of their clan. The vampire immerses the fangs into the skin of the guy to turn him, and suddenly something unexpected happens. Events are not planned. The bright flash and the bell of the metal break the space. The vampire in shock bounce back. Everyone froze, not understanding what happened just before their eyes. Confusion covers bloodsuckers, their fangs crack, and the bodies of people suddenly become invulnerable. Something went wrong. The guy calmly explains, he applied a protective spell. If you cannot suck blood, it is impossible to control. Vampires in non-stroke. One of them shouts that he can be pierced even by steel, and witchcraft is only a vain hope, but the futility is obvious. Realizing who has broken all the plans, vampires switch attention to the guy. Now he becomes their main target. But the young man instantly rushes forward, moves accurately and sharply like a living blade, leaving no chance to protect the enemies. The lightning movement of the sword and vampires fall one by one, not even reacting. It cuts darkness like lightning. Between the fallen bodies like a shadow, there is a guy. Shock, silence, surprise, everyone is watching, not believing in the power of them. Most never saw the battle itself, only its result. A moment and the enemies lie in dust, and the hero, like the spirit of war. One of the vampires is still moving. The guy strictly warns, there is no point in pretending to be dead, everything is visible. The vampire explodes fury, but his face changes rapidly. He did not expect such insight and vulnerability. Their bodies do not heal. The wounds remain open, and fear for the first time touches the hearts of these once invulnerable creatures. The guy confesses that a special spell is imposed on his sword, which deprives the runny nose. Now they are ordinary bodies. Thinking about whether it is worthwhile, he decides to leave alive. They can know where others stolen. The leader nods, a wise decision, but the silence cuts the mocking laughter of one of the wounded vampires he is slowly raising. Smiling, he is distorted in convulsions, states that death is better than captivity among mortals. His body flashes self-destruction. The team goes to the leadership room. They tell everything as is. A man at the table does not hide shock. It is difficult for him to believe in such a story. The guy suggests maybe the monster was not a vampire, but the red-haired girl is sure she saw well with whom she was dealing with. The man notes perhaps all this is the deception of the monster, because it is known that they are able to control the mind. The girl rejects it. She emphasizes the only one among men. She would not have such strength to influence consciousness. In addition, the monsters themselves confessed they are vampires. Puzzled man, sighing, acknowledges that he had to say it in Cuba, but I was silent, and now a late confession can be expensive. The man is still waving the truth, they say. Vampires only seem to be more important. But the woman does not stand, her voice becomes sharp. She requires honesty. Driven into an angle, it literally decreases under her eyes. One of the girls confidently states that the situation is already under control. They managed to cope with the worst. Another throw a replica. Is this not the main thing? But the man tries to complete the dispute. His peace is destroyed by a woman who pulls him by his ear and mocks such confidence. Girls report that only part of the victims are sure. This is not all. Obviously, other vampires went unnoticed. There is a new guess. There is another shelter where the rest of the stolen are kept. The real danger is still hidden. The guild leader is forced to admit that the scale of the abduction is much larger. His words are stunning and collecting everyone around. They say that vampires do not kill immediately. They like to drink blood gradually. And the main question is where to look for prisoners. One of the men clamped in a chair announces a new guess. The girl shares an alarming thought. Vampires have changed. Evolution made them more dangerous. The tension envelops all with silent fear. The leader of the guild is wide open, and the woman is getting even more serious. Everyone is dying for a moment, grasping the possible consequences of this change. A man with excitement insists this should be reported immediately. Henrietta is strongly announced to convey the news, and he sincerely thanks. Calling it by name, he passes to her an important assignment. Henrietta nods focused, and other warriors closely watch. After the report, the guild orders experienced adventurers to remain alert. Too much incomprehensible. The guy returns to the base, in his head thoughts about what is next. He is greeted by combat comrades. A feeling of victory prevails in the air. He remembers how this task has become a real investigation, and how he destroyed the shelter of criminals. Luluka, the owner of the arrival, listens carefully, not hiding a gentle smile. He is enthusiastic enthusiasm. In her eyes, he is already a real hero. But though she admires him, Luluka still thinks that his missions are too easy. The guy listens silently, and she just smiles gently. She says with confidence, he will once become a real hero as a legendary Leon. Her words are full of faith. At this point, two cats are watching all with a living interest. Their view does not go unnoticed for the lulk. Quieties are eagerly asked for their favorite thing. Luluka just laughs, goes to the shelf, and pulls something familiar. Only a few moments, and it extends them a book, causing a real delight. The eyes of the quiz shining emotions are sincere and joyful. Luluka asks to return the book after reading. The guy thanks, and everyone gets into reading together. Together with the girls, he plunges into adventures. Their delight is contagious. Even a tiny creature on his head looks carefully. Even Sora joined. With the glitter in the eyes of the girls show a book, The Adventures of Leon the Great. On the cover, a brave hero who seduces the imagination. He is surprised when the girls compare him to the hero on the cover. It does not find similarity, but this thought affects it. The three of them are fully immersed in history. The pages turn one after the other, filling the evening with adventures. The guy notices errors in the text, especially about Leon's origin, but girls cannot break away, especially when it comes to the King of Demons. In the book, the demonic king is a hybrid with the head of the lion and the body of the bear. In the memoirs of a guy, it is rather a giant man. The last battle ends with the victory of Leon. The girls are delighted to embrace the guy. He is already a real hero for them. The night descends to the city, enveloping everything around the mysterious piece, as if closing this story in the soft glow of stars. The young man sleeps carelessly next to the girls, and suddenly he is awakened by a suspicious noise outside the window. He gets up, blinks from the darkness, and notices something alarming behind the glass. Alarmed girls grab from sleep, asking what happened. Meanwhile, the guy is strongly heading to the door to find out the cause of anxiety. In the corridor, he stops Luluk, awakened by the same roar. The lantern trembles in his hands, fear on his face. It looks confused and alert. The guy asks her to stay, it can be dangerous. He moves forward, squeezing his fists and preparing for a possible battle. In front of him, closed door. The castle does not leave the chances of hesitation. It knocks it in one blow and enters it. The room is in the dark cloak, leaning over someone's bed. She smiles as if she rejoices that the victim has come to him. Luluka breaks into the room, demanding explanations, but the guy immediately warns, this is a vampire, and only then does she truly scare. She runs away, and the shadow pursues it with cold accuracy. One of the victims, wounded and exhausted, hoarsely exclaims the warning, this vampire will suck everyone into a drop. Hearing this, Luluka is pale, the fear of her body, and she urges everyone to run away immediately while there is still a chance. The vampire approaches the boy, inhaling the smell of his blood. He immediately understands that he is not an ordinary child, but something more. The vampire finally reveals the truth. He seeks to taste his blood to approach the ruler himself, the Vampire King. Many years have passed, and now archives have been preparing for evolution. Today is crucial. Some of them will become a new lord. The guy realizes, in front of him the archivampire is the highest among the monsters, but instead of fear in his eyes, a challenge. He picks up the sword and says, his blood is not part of the ritual. Without waiting for the answer, the young man rushes forward and strikes the heart of a dark lord, cutting through the defense. The blade punches protection and causes moaning pain. The vampire retreats. He did not expect such resistance. He shakes without believing that he is really injured. In the eyes, anxiety and panic mixed with shock. This is not planned. The archives understands even worse. The wound does not heal. His body, which should be regenerated instantly, is now suffering. Angry, he screams and instantly dissolves in the air, turning into a cloud of bat. His associates rush forward, but stop. Something went wrong. The girls break from the place and strikingly accurately strike. The opponents fall one after the other, and all around the mouths only open. Taking advantage of the moment, the guy rushes forward and steps the sword directly into the chest of the archive empire, which has not yet had time to restore the shape. The blow is too much and deadly. In the eyes of the monster, fear and pain. He does not even have time to understand how everything happened. After falling, the archives laughing through the blood, he confesses that he never believed in defeat. The guy calmly says he was like others, but the enemy still has time to whisper. The party is just beginning. A new owner will appear in the place of the fallen, and he will start hunting. On you, this is not the end yet. The guy looks silently at the window of the vampires. Without emotions, leave the room. Luluka has not yet recovered from horror. The question answers clearly and calmly. The enemy is destroyed. The reality of these words makes her die in stunning. But the hero does not stop. There is still a danger. He orders to wake everyone to hide in the basement. In his eyes, a fire that will not go out. Meanwhile, life lasts in the bar, somewhere far from blood and battles, in a completely different reality. Good drunk, the woman barely stays on her feet and complains that she is no longer able to drink drops. The bartender with a smile nods. She knows this client, but always turns out as soon as they come to their special drink called S. Thinking, the woman grunts, why not find a man instead of hiding from a bottle, and adds, did not adventure remain in the world. The drunken woman is indignant that all adventurers are dirty and rude men, not her type. It is clear from her tone, none of them deserves her attention. When asked by a bartender about a perfect partner, she is shaking, but confidently answers a drunken smile. Her taste is very specific. The reds have always been her weakness. Her gaze flies from the very thoughts of magic boys, true aesthetic pleasures. She loves neither children nor the elders, only captures the short moment when the guy grows up. Her words make everyone around feel the true inconvenience. The bartender sighs, in her noise chaos, but if not a voice and a drunk look, she could seem a rather attractive woman. The sudden cry breaks the bar atmosphere. The conversation subsides, everyone rotates, there is a voltage in the air. A man with an unconscious body in his arms enters the bar. Everyone is dying, heavy silence prevails in the hall. The drunken woman immediately recognizes him, a vampire. Her voice trembles, but she screams firmly, stay away, he is dangerous. The bar is filled with whisper, vampire, it's impossible. After all, everyone was certain that these creatures had disappeared, but anxiety is growing rapidly. People begin to look more closely at the woman, remembering, she is not just a drunkard, an experienced adventure finder. Her words are confident, In the meantime, the vampire joins the conversation with a smile, as if confirming its nature. It controls the situation with ease. His eyes shine. In the crowd he only sees prey. Everyone is like a dish on the menu, and it entertains it. She feels incredible magic, stronger than she met earlier. It's not just a vampire, an archive, and fear compresses the heart. His gaze slides on it with horrible curiosity. Smiling, he says she looks especially appetizing today. With the same self-confident smile, he states that she will not escape. The girl rushes into running decisive, collected, despite the alcoholic fog in her head. Running drunk is horror. She makes herself for weakness but does not stop. Her legs tremble, but determination does not allow to fall. The woman breaks out of the bar, behind her back steps. Her heart is punching in a panic. The vampire is chasing. The distance between them disappears. And here he is ahead, smiling, calm, confident. She did not even have time to react. How did he do it? She is clear there is little chance, but she does not retreat. Gathering the strength, stands firmly and preparing to repel if it was ahead.